Chapter 58. A distance of 300 miles would only take a moment for the 5 sails that had been strengthened. At this moment, Sumo looked up and felt that she would reach the 5 paths immortal domain in just a few dozen miles. However, Sumo did not relax, because he knew that unless he reached the 5 paths mystic gate and started the teleportation, he could be in danger at any time. Boom, as expected. Just as Sumo had this thought in his mind, 3 black shadows appeared out of thin air and directly locked Sumo's 5 sails in the void. They were 3 Foundation Establishment level cultivators, and they were definitely not early Foundation Establishment level cultivators. Whoosh, boom, the 5 sails shook. The 3 black-robed cultivators did not say anything and directly attacked Sumo's sails with their magic treasures. 3 flying swords, 3 sword lights. Boom! Crack. However, the defensive formation on Sumo's 5 sails was extremely powerful. Just now, although they worked together to stop the 5 sails, the power of the 3 flying swords was not balanced. Thousands of rays of spiritual energy suddenly exploded. The 5 flying sails abruptly moved, unexpectedly breaking free from the combined suppression just now and rushing several kilometers away. The 3 cultivators were slightly surprised. One of them formed a seal with both hands and suddenly saw a black hole suddenly split in the void. At this moment, the 5 sails actually flew straight towards that black hole. It was a rather powerful spell. If the 5 sails really entered the black hole, Sumo would be instantly strangled. At this moment, Sumo naturally had no power to resist. Whoosh! At this moment, a black-robed cultivator instantly appeared next to the black hole. It was Sumo's black-robed senior brother. He formed a seal with both hands extremely quickly. Seal! The black-robed senior brother's hands directly emitted black light. Under the spell, the black hole that had just formed actually disappeared in an instant. Almost at the same time, Sumo's 5 sails whistled past. Everything happened in an instant. The black-robed senior brother did not say much and shouted in a low voice, "Those who hurt Sumo will be killed without mercy." It was still the same words. The hearts of the 3 black-robed cultivators shuddered. However, they were 2 in the middle stage of Foundation Establishment and 1 in the late stage of Foundation Establishment. Their realms were higher than the black-clothed Foundation Establishment cultivator. Plus, the black-robed senior apprentice brother had already used his core formation Taoist rhyme once. That kind of Taoist rhyme technique will be slightly weaker every time it was used. Therefore, the 2 middle-stage foundation-building cultivators paused slightly in the void, but the late-stage foundation-building cultivator was almost unaffected as he directly flew towards Sumo. Seeing this, the black-robed senior raised his hand. The magical treasure in his hand flew towards the late-stage Foundation Establishment cultivator. It was a small withered vine, no more than 3 inches long. The originally black, withered vine expanded to 3 zhong in an instant. The green vines were alive, shining brightly. Like a snake, the vines wrapped around the legs of the late-stage Foundation Establishment cultivator. Actually, a magic treasure like this could not trap a late-stage Foundation Establishment cultivator. As long as the black-robed senior brother could stall him for a moment, it would be fine. Sumo's flying sail was already approaching the 5 paths immortal domain. At the same time, the black-robed senior brother's body moved and went straight towards one of the middle-stage Foundation Establishment cultivators. The black-robed senior brother was wearing a special battle robe, so his combat power was far greater than the average middle-stage Foundation Establishment cultivator. In terms of speed, it was even more so. Puff! Using almost the same method, the black-robed senior brother's immortal sword directly pierced through the middle-stage Foundation Establishment cultivator's immortal heart. The immortal sword suddenly flicked, and the cultivator directly turned into a mist of blood. Clean, neat, and ruthless. Because at this time, the black-robed senior brother understood that killing one was one. If he did not kill one quickly, he would definitely not be a match for the 3 of them. Fortunately, the main goal of the 3 black-robed cultivators was to stop Sumo. Otherwise, it would really be difficult for him to deal with the 3 Foundation establishment cultivators. He killed a middle stage Foundation establishment cultivator. At this time, the other middle stage Foundation establishment cultivator had already dispelled his core formation Taoist rhyme. The black-robed senior brother could not use it anymore. Chi. The middle stage Foundation establishment cultivator flipped his hand, and the immortal sword in his hand went straight towards the black-robed senior brother. Both sides seemed to have some sort of tacit understanding. Without saying a word, they only wanted to kill each other. They were both middle stage Foundation establishment cultivators. Though the black-robed senior brother had the support of his battle armor, it was impossible for him to kill them with one strike like he did just now. Chi. Clank. In the blink of an eye, both sides had attacked more than 10 times. The black-robed senior brother had the upper hand, but he could not end the battle immediately. At this time, the late-stage Foundation establishment cultivator who was trapped by the green vines had already formed a hand seal. Ho! Looking at his feet, he saw 2 blue flames surging out. The blue flames were as strange as a demon. The moment the green vines met the blue flames, they immediately soared. Ho! The late-stage Foundation establishment cultivator sneered, broke free from the green vines, and chased after Sumo. At this time, the black-robed senior brother could only attack fiercely to force the black-robed cultivator away, and then disappear. Teleportation. Actually, this was a technique that only a core formation cultivator could use. It was just that the black-robed senior brother's equipment was too powerful, allowing him to have this ability. However, he could only use this technique 3 times. This time, he surpassed the late-stage Foundation establishment cultivator. Whoosh! The black-robed senior brother pointed in the air, and a sea of lightning appeared. This sea of lightning was somewhat similar to the Thousand Bones Sea of Lightning from a Selectant sect. However, its power was much stronger than the previous one. What was even more different was that this sea of lightning actually appeared beneath their feet. To be more precise, this sea of lightning appeared beneath the black-robed senior brother and the black-robed late-stage Foundation establishment cultivator. The surging sea of lightning was frightening. In reality, this technique was enough to stop a mid-stage Foundation establishment cultivator or even kill them in the sea of lightning. However, the person in front of them was a late-stage Foundation establishment cultivator. In the cultivation world, the higher the level, the greater the gap between levels. In other words, the difference between a mid-stage Foundation establishment cultivator and a late-stage Foundation establishment cultivator was greater than the difference between a 9th and 6th Chi training cultivator. Therefore, when the black-robed senior brother used his technique, the late-stage Foundation establishment cultivator sneered. Child's play. Looking again, the black-robed, late-stage Foundation establishment cultivator had 2 more blue flames beneath his feet. At this moment, the blue flames were like blue clouds. Chi! Stepping on clouds to cross the sea. The black-robed senior brother's sea of lightning could not be detonated at all. It was completely useless. The late-stage Foundation establishment cultivator was unstoppable. Destroy. At the same time, the late-stage Foundation establishment cultivator waved his hand, and a ball of blue flame shot towards the black-robed senior brother. That blue flame was the Foundation establishment cultivator's unique secret technique. That ball of fire was enough to kill a mid-stage Foundation establishment cultivator. Whoosh! Originally, it was just a little blue flame, but when it reached the black-robed senior brother, it turned into a sea of fire that came crashing down like a waterfall of blue fire falling from the 9 heavens. The black-robed senior brother hurriedly formed a seal with his hands. Whoosh, his black robe suddenly expanded, and the black robe under his ribs stretched out like a pair of wings. At this moment, the black-robed senior brother was like a black bat. The Ink Soul battle robe was definitely not an ordinary item. Without this battle robe, the black-robed senior brother would definitely not be able to withstand the late-stage Foundation establishment cultivator. Whoosh, the black-robed senior brother raised both his arms, and 2 black gusts of wind appeared. They were like tornadoes that met the waterfall of blue flames. At this moment, the late-stage Foundation establishment cultivator did not care whether his technique could kill the black-robed senior brother or not. He only wanted to kill Sumo. The other mid-stage Foundation establishment cultivator went straight for the black-robed senior brother. They had a tacit understanding with each other. Oof. The black-robed senior brother looked at the mid-stage Foundation establishment cultivator and couldn't help but sneer. Then, his pair of black wings suddenly flapped. Whoosh, whoosh. Chapter 59. The fire borrowed the power of the wind, and the wind borrowed the power of the fire. For a moment, the air was filled with wind and fire. One had to know that not every Foundation establishment middle-stage cultivator had an ink soul battle robe. The late-stage Foundation establishment cultivator's blue flame was extremely powerful. Plus, the black-robed senior brother added 2 gusts of wind to it. Whoosh, whoosh. The Foundation establishment middle-stage cultivator did not expect the black-robed senior brother to have such a fighting method. Strictly speaking, it wasn't a pure spell, but a battle technique. Stealing a sheep, borrowing a knife to kill someone. The black-robed middle-stage cultivator wanted to retreat, but it was too late. However, he was a Foundation establishment middle-stage cultivator after all. Whoosh! The black-robed mid-stage Foundation establishment cultivator instantly activated a defensive spell technique on his body. A yellow light instantly protected his body. A Foundation establishment middle-stage cultivator had a lifespan of nearly 200 years. In a second-rate immortal sect, he could easily sit as an elder. Cultivation was extremely difficult. The Foundation establishment middle-stage cultivator before him was also one of the best. That defensive spell was an extremely powerful spell of the Foundation establishment middle stage. If it was just a blue flame, his defensive spell might be able to block it. However, there was also a black wind within the blue flame, and the black wind was definitely not an ordinary wind. Whoosh! The blue flame met the yellow light and stopped for a moment, unable to penetrate it immediately. However, the black wind could penetrate the light defense. The Foundation establishment middle-stage cultivator was shocked. The black wind was bone-chilling. It entered his immortal body as if thousands of black insects were crawling inside. Not good. That's the soul-breaking wind. The Foundation establishment middle-stage cultivator's heart went cold. He knew he was done for. The so-called soul-breaking wind was a wind that could directly enter the immortal body and blow away a cultivator's immortal soul. In fact, it was a forceful infusion of spiritual energy, extremely domineering. However, that was a spell that could only be used after core formation, and it was not something any core formation cultivator could do. Just who was this cultivator in front of me? He really was a Foundation establishment middle-stage cultivator. However, how could he use the soul-breaking wind? The Foundation establishment middle-stage cultivator could not understand and was extremely shocked. However, he would not have the chance to understand. The soul-breaking wind came. His immortal heart was unstable, and his time of death had come. The external defensive spell was instantly shaken. The blue flames directly invaded. Who? The mid-stage Foundation establishment cultivator was engulfed by the blue fire in the blink of an eye. That blue flame was an immortal flame. It was definitely not ordinary. Cultivators in this kind of immortal fire were no different from mortals in a sea of fire. This time, it was much more painful than when the black-robed senior brother killed the other mid-stage Foundation establishment cultivator. Because it wasn't a death by a single sword strike, it was a burning death. The mid-stage Foundation establishment cultivator struggled under the dual attacks of the soul-breaker wind and the sea of blue flames. His whole body tumbled in the air, and his screams could be heard for miles. Even Sumo, who was on the 5 flying sails, felt her heart skip a beat. Senior brother, save me. Master, save me. Grandmaster, save me. Save me. The Foundation establishment cultivator wailed in anguish, as if he was about to lose his mind. The late Foundation establishment cultivator, who was about to catch up to Sumo, frowned when he heard his junior brother's wail. At the same time, his heart turned cold. However, he did not come back to rescue them. Instead, he suddenly pulled back his hand, and a sword light flew out. Pooh! The sword light pierced through the sea of fire and beheaded the mid-stage foundation establishment cultivator. Pooh! Wind and fire swirled. Following that, the wailing stopped. The mid-stage foundation establishment cultivator's body gradually turned into black smoke in the sea of fire. Even his storage bag was gone. The price of killing Sumo this time was too high. The late-stage foundation establishment cultivator had no other choice. Because he couldn't bear to see the black-robed mid-stage foundation establishment cultivator suffer. He was even more worried that the black-robed mid-stage foundation establishment cultivator would shout something else. At this moment, the black-robed senior brother sneered. At the same time, he couldn't help but think, how decisive and ruthless. If it was me, I might not be able to do it. At this moment, Sumo was only a few miles away from the Five Paths immortal domain. Chi! Chi! The black-robed senior brother waved his hand. The immortal sword in his hand was summoned again, and it went straight for the late-stage foundation establishment cultivator. Now, only the late-stage foundation establishment cultivator was left. Although the black-robed senior brother couldn't kill him, he could definitely fight for a while. Damn it! The late-stage foundation establishment cultivator knew that the flying sword was coming from behind and was furious. At this moment, he wanted to chase after Sumo, but he couldn't ignore the flying sword behind him. And this time, if he delayed a bit, the little beggar definitely wouldn't be able to catch up. He understood what it meant to enter the Five Paths immortal domain. But if he chased after Sumo, the flying sword behind him would definitely pierce through him. It seemed like a dilemma, but since he was able to cultivate to the late-stage foundation establishment cultivator, how could he be an ordinary person? In an instant, the late-stage foundation establishment cultivator made a decision. Whoosh! The late-stage foundation establishment cultivator suddenly turned around, and there was also a flying sword in his hand. Chi! Clang! The black-robed senior brother's flying sword was already knocked away by the sword. The difference in level could not be ignored. If it was just now, the foundation establishment cultivator would definitely turn around and chase after Sumo. But this time he didn't. Instead, the flying sword in his hand shook and went straight for the black-robed senior brother. A ray of sword light, several electric arcs. The combat power of a late-stage foundation establishment cultivator was definitely not to be underestimated. His sword was also different from others. This time, he chose to kill the black-robed senior brother, because he understood that the task of intercepting and killing Sumo was hopeless. As for the black-robed cultivator who killed two of his junior brothers, he definitely could not let him go. Killing him was also revenge. Kill! A serious late-stage foundation establishment cultivator was certainly scary. The cultivator's sword light did not stop, and within a radius of a few miles, it was almost completely enveloped by his sword light. At the same time, he formed a seal with one hand, and a blue fire dragon sprang out from his palm. Roar! The moment the blue fire dragon appeared, the entire void shook. The dragon's roar traveled 100 miles. This blue fire dragon was definitely not on the same level as the blue flame just now. If the black-robed senior brother wanted to use the soul-breaking wind to destroy it, it would be impossible. However, the black-robed senior brother was not afraid. In the void, he first dodged the flying sword light, and then quickly formed a seal with both hands. Water Spirit Mirror. Seal. Following the black-robed senior brother's technique, a silver water curtain instantly appeared in the entire void. Whoosh! The water curtain really appeared out of thin air, and it formed a hexagonal enclosed space, trapping the blue fire dragon inside. The moment this technique was used, the late-stage foundation establishment cultivator was shocked. Water Wheel Technique. Who the hell are you? Withered Vine Technique. Doubt Rhyme Technique. Soul-Breaking Wind. Water Spirit Mirror. In theory, these techniques could not appear on a cultivator. And who are you? The black-robed senior brother sneered, and instead of answering, he asked a question. I'll tell you after I kill you. Do you really think that you can trap my fire dragon like this? Dream on. The late-stage foundation establishment cultivator's hand seal changed. Roar, roar. Looking again, the blue dragon that was trapped by the water mirror actually raised its head and roared. Then on its neck, there was actually a dragon head on each side. However, these two heads were actually red and yellow. Roar, roar. The three-color dragon head raised its head and roared, and its anger soared to the 9 heavens. At this moment, the expression of the senior brother, who was covered by the technique, also changed. Chapter 60. The tricolor dragon fire was divided into 3 colors and could burn a completion-level cultivator. The senior brother in black didn't think that this foundational advanced stage was such a powerful character. With this tricolor dragon fire, he could contend with a completion-level cultivator of the beginning stage. Retreat. The senior brother in black didn't dare to continue fighting. This was not a technique he could block. Teleportation. The senior brother in black had 2 more teleportations, and he wanted to head towards the 5 wheels. Theoretically, he could teleport twice and arrive at the 5 wheels immortal realm. However, the senior brother in black realized that he had only teleported less than 3 meters away. He was shocked. Junior, you can't escape. Reveal your true face. The foundational cultivator had already caught up. 3 dragon heads descended from the sky. The spirit anchor technique. The senior brother in black immediately understood. The advanced stage of the foundational cultivator in black had a lot of battle experience. The first time he teleported, the opponent already saw through it. Therefore, the foundational cultivator in black had already used the spirit anchor technique to render his teleportation useless. After all, the senior brother in black's teleportation technique was not his own power. This was troublesome. The senior brother in black didn't think that he would encounter such a powerful opponent. The tricolor dragon fire landed. The 3 dragon heads were like 3 demons, ferocious and horrifying. Water soul. Seal. The senior brother in black could only use one last technique. It was still the water soul seal. However, this time, he didn't seal the tricolor dragon fire. He sealed himself. The reality was this technique couldn't stop the tricolor dragon fire. It just wouldn't be incinerated right away. At the same time, the senior brother in black curled up, and his black robe emitted an endless amount of black light. Crack, crack, crack. At that moment, the Ink Soul battle robe's shape changed. Like an ink-colored armor, it completely wrapped around the senior brother in black. The senior brother in black turned into an ink-colored ball. However, the ball was not smooth at all. It was pieced together by ink-colored iron plates. Crack! Under the tricolor dragon fire, the water soul mirror instantly melted. It didn't have much of an effect. Then, the tricolor dragon fire surrounded the ink-colored ball and burned it. Death was only a matter of time. Even within the Ink Soul battle robe, the black-robed senior apprentice brother could feel the temperature of the tricolored divine flame. Even with the Ink Soul battle armor, he wouldn't be able to last more than half an hour. Under such circumstances, the black-robed senior brother no longer cared about his own life and death. He only wished that Sumo had flown back to the 5 Paths immortal domain. That way, he would have accomplished his mission and died a worthy death. At this moment, Sumo had rushed into the 5 Paths immortal domain. In fact, it was only a few dozen li. The black-robed senior brother blocked with all his might and killed 2 mid-stage Foundation Establishment cultivators. In the end, the late-stage Foundation Establishment cultivator was also blocked several times and could only give up on Sumo. This gave Sumo a chance. The moment they entered the 5 Paths immortal domain, the formation on the 5 sails shook. At the same time, the black jade slip in Sumo's hand that was connected to Mu Jinghong also heated up. I've finally entered the service area. There's a signal now, haha. Without any hesitation, Sumo crushed the black jade slip. This was because she had no idea what would happen next. She could not let the black-robed senior brother take the risk. Senior Sister Mu, Sumo called out in her heart. Pa! As soon as the black jade slip was crushed, Mu Jinghong, who was on Sky Wheel Mountain, immediately knew. Mu Jinghong understood the pride in Sumo's bones. Therefore, unless it was absolutely necessary, Sumo would never crush the jade slip. Mu Jinghong's expression changed instantly. Who dared to touch Sumo? That was someone from a silent death valley. At the same time, a teleportation formation appeared under her feet. Mu Jinghong raised his eyebrows. His face was filled with murderous intent as he stepped into the formation. As soon as Sumo stepped into the Five Paths Immortal Domain, many changes occurred within the Five Paths Immortal Domain. A bunch of trash. In the dark and damp cave within the Five Paths Immortal Domain, the pale-faced old man could not help but curse in his heart. He raised his hand slightly, and 5 rays of light and many mirror images appeared in his palm. Everything seemed to be under his control. But it wasn't just here. Inside the Five Paths Immortal Domain, several rays of light shot out from the peaks of the other mountains as well. Among them, there was a faint aura of a completion stage cultivator. At that moment, the mountains of the Five Paths Immortal Domain shook, but most people did not know what was going on. On the Yongjin Peak, Windmill Su Yike was performing a divination. The divination was confusing, but he had already reported everything about Sumo to Windmill Mountain. He believed that the eldest senior brother of Windmill Mountain would take care of everything. On the square of the Yongjin Peak, Guanxiong squinted his eyes. When he saw the rays of light rushing out of the Five Paths Immortal Domain, his expression changed. Completion stage cultivators, elders, and leaders have all come out of their caves. Hee. Then, Guanxiong regained his composure. He squinted his eyes as if he was watching a show. This is not a small show. But that little beggar is only a heaven immortal root. I don't think it's necessary. There was a trace of doubt in Guanxiong's eyes. Inside the cave at the gate of the Yongjin Peak, the simple-minded Bai Lai was still sleeping soundly, drooling for a long time. At this moment, he only turned over once. Of course, even if he knew that Sumo was going to die, it would be useless. However, in the 2 months without Sumo, Bai Lai was really lonely and slept most of the time. He didn't clean the cave much, but Bai Lai was doing well. Very few people asked him to clean the cave. At the border of the Five Paths Immortal Domain, almost at the same time that Sumo crushed the Jade Slip, Sumo felt several extremely overbearing auras rushing towards her. Among them, there were cultivators and spells. What's going on? Sumo's heart sank. How could there be so many powerful attacks in the Five Paths Immortal Domain? There seemed to be sword rays rising from a few miles away. There seemed to be spells being launched from a few miles away. There seemed to be magic treasures being launched from a few miles away. Sumo seemed to have become the target of everyone. Those people actually wanted to kill Sumo. This was indeed a situation that Sumo didn't expect. What the hell was going on? However, at this moment, Sumo didn't have the chance to think too much. An inescapable net descended from the sky. More than a dozen murderous auras went straight for Sumo. However, it was almost impossible to kill Sumo in the Five Paths Immortal Domain. Whoosh, whoosh. At that moment, a teleportation formation appeared beside Sumo. In fact, the formation had already appeared the moment Sumo crushed the Jade Slip. The Jade Slip that Mu Jinghong gave to Sumo contained a teleportation formation. It was a type of rapid teleportation that could be activated as long as one was in the Five Paths Immortal Domain. Its speed was far faster than the large-scale teleportation formation in the Five Paths Immortal Wheels. However, it could only be used once, and it could only teleport one person. Therefore, the formation automatically activated when the Jade Slip was crushed. The formation that Mu Jinghong stepped into and the one beside Sumo were like two sides of a mirror. One entered, and the other came out. In less than 3 breaths, Mu Jinghong's black dress fluttered in the wind as she coldly stood beside Sumo. At that moment, Sumo was in a trance. Mu Jinghong was really beautiful and stunning. At this moment, Mu Jinghong stood beside Sumo. Sumo's heart rippled with an indescribable warmth and emotion. Sumo knew that she was safe. Chapter 61. Within the universe, many things can happen in an instant. Sumo will forever remember the moment when Mu Jinghong saved her. On the Bone Continent, at the border of the Five Paths Immortal Realm, Mu Jinghong was wearing all black and seemed to be in control of the universe. You are seeking death. Mu Jinghong was cold and threatening. Looking at the incoming attacks, she was as still as a mountain. At this moment, her killer's intent could be felt miles away, because the moment she stepped into the array, she began to form a hand seal. The peak of the foundational level, half a step into the completion level. Of course, this was only Mu Jinghong's external capabilities. As for Mu Jinghong's true capabilities, the 5 wheels did not have an accurate assessment. After all, Mu Jinghong has never lost. Capable of killing a completion-level cultivator. This was the most basic measurement. To the 5 wheels, this was not a secret. This was Mu Jinghong's publicly acknowledged capability. Those who attacked Sumo did not expect Mu Jinghong to suddenly appear, or else they wouldn't dare to do this, because they were about to pay the price with their lives. Right now, Mu Jinghong's palms were clasped together and raised above her head. Her perfect body was on full display. However, nobody had the chance to appreciate Mu Jinghong's beauty. Half a step into the completion level, Mu Jinghong was the god of death. In an instant, an endless wave of light formed around her, spreading out like waves. Tianlun, Tianlun. Mu Jinghong let out a shout and spread his arms apart. At that moment, Mu Jinghong was truly like a black swan spreading its wings. Boom! Hua! With Mu Jinghong and Sumo as the center, a wave of destructive energy expanded outwards. Everything within a radius of 10 miles seemed to be engulfed by an unstoppable force. This was a technique that attacked indiscriminately. At the same time, it was also an ultimate technique from the Tianlun clan. It was also a completion-level technique. In the entire 5 wheels, Mu Jinghong was the only foundational cultivator who could use this technique. Mu Jinghong's expression was cold, and his eyes were full of killer's intent. No matter who it was, as long as he could kill them, Mu Jinghong would not spare a single one. Mu Jinghong's viciousness far exceeded everyone's imagination, stunning white bones for 3,000 years. In reality, the bones of the cultivators who had died at Mu Jinghong's hands could be piled up into a mountain. She was an enigma, a legend. On the 5 sails, Sumo was dumbfounded. Under Mu Jinghong's spell technique, the destructive energy surged forth like a river bursting through a dam. Almost everything in its path was reduced to ashes. Puff, Wawu, wherever the heavenly annihilation chi went. He destroyed things on sight and killed people on sight. It was like a black hole that devoured everything. Sumo had never seen such a spell before. The heavenly annihilation technique was incomparably domineering. Among the last batch of cultivators attacking Sumo, the one with the highest cultivation level was at the peak of the middle stage of foundation establishment. Because the mastermind behind the scenes really didn't expect that the group of late-stage foundation establishment cultivators would actually fail to intercept and kill Sumo. He had no choice but to act in the 5 paths immortal domain. He didn't have much time to prepare. In fact, only the planner knew that all of these people were cannon fodder. In the end, even if they killed Sumo, they would still be silenced. Heaven Wheel, Heavenly Annihilation. Though this spell was powerful, there were still 2 or 3 cultivators who didn't die because of their treasures. Mu Jinghong's lips curled up and his hand seal changed. Whoosh, whoosh, a black light flew out of her storage pouch. But Sumo didn't even see what it was. However, the black light seemed to let out a shrill cry. Like the cry of a crane, it pierced through the 9 heavens and spread across the entire northern domain of the 5 paths black feather deity. At this moment, the cultivators on the 5 paths who knew how powerful Mu Jinghong was frowned when they heard this cry. The few core formation cultivators who were about to arrive also grinned. Mu Jinghong was furious. Black feather deity was Mu Jinghong's spiritual bird. It was extremely ferocious. Legend has it that the black feather deity was formed from the spirit of the river Styx. The highest level deity could fight against dragons and phoenixes. Mu Jinghong's black feather deity could at least fight against intermediate stage core formation cultivators. Actually, Everyone knew that killing a few foundation-building cultivators didn't require the spiritual bird. It was obvious that Mu Jinghong had taken it out to intimidate them. Sumo didn't know what it was. A black light flew out, and in the blink of an eye, it circled around and came back. Ah Wu. A few miles away, there was a scream followed by 3 clouds of blood. Whoosh, screech, the black light circled around Mu Jinghong's body. At this moment, Sumo finally saw it clearly. The black light turned out to be a large swan-like bird with black feathers and a sharp red beak. It was more than 5 feet long, but when it spread its wings, it was nearly 10 feet long. The black feathers on its wings were shining. Among them, there were a few long feathers that looked like black swords. Its claws were like silver hooks, shining brightly. What shocked Sumo even more was that there were actually 2 human heads pierced through the red beak of the giant bird. However, Sumo didn't recognize those 2 cultivators. But between their eyebrows, there was a brownish-yellow mark. Mu Jinghong glanced at the 2 heads, smiled coldly, and waved his hand. The black feather deity understood and lightly shook its head. 2 human heads flew up, then it suddenly opened its beak and swallowed the 2 cultivators' heads. Hiss! This scene made Sumo suck in a breath of cold air. These spirit beasts and immortal birds all had a special taste. The little white pig liked to eat souls, and it wasn't that scary, but this black bird actually ate human heads. This scene was too impactful. Silence. There was a moment of silence at the border of the 5 Paths immortal domain, because all the cultivators just now were killed by Mu Jinghong. In an instant, there were more than 10. Mu Jinghong stood beside Sumo, unmoving. The black feather deity hovered in the air, like a goshawk in the dark world. At this moment, who dared to touch Sumo? Whoosh, whoosh, 5 or 6 figures landed in front of Mu Jinghong. In fact, Mu Jinghong had already seen them. They were all core formation cultivators from the 5 wheels. In other words, they were the top power of the 5 wheels. One of the core formation cultivators didn't stop and went straight to the late foundation establishment cultivator not far away. Mu Jinghong didn't kill him just now. White Bone Demon, do you think there's no one in the 5 Paths? The red-robed core formation cultivator was furious. How could a late foundation establishment cultivator resist the pressure of a core formation cultivator? Not to mention that the late foundation establishment cultivator didn't expect a core formation cultivator to attack him. Boom! The core formation cultivator suppressed the late foundation establishment cultivator and turned him into a mist of blood. Once the late foundation establishment cultivator died, the tricolor divine dragon fire naturally dissipated. The black-robed senior brother was saved. Crack, crack. The black soul battle robe disintegrated before he stood up. Cough, cough, cough. The black-robed senior brother kept coughing. It seemed that he wouldn't be able to hold on much longer. He's my man. Chapter 62. Oh, so he's one of Junior Sister Mu's people. It's good that he's fine. The red-robed, core formation cultivator had the appearance of a middle-aged man. He had a pair of eagle eyes and a thin face. He didn't look like a good person, and he had a fake smile on his face. It was a cultivator of the early stage of core formation. However, it was an unwritten rule for the core formation cultivators in the 5 wheels to address Mu Jinghong as Junior Sister. Elder Hong, your fire chakra lineage is really powerful. You killed a foundation establishment late stage in one go. Mu Jinghong sneered. At the same time, he stretched out his hand and gave the senior brother in black an elixir. The black-robed senior brother didn't say anything and directly swallowed it. It was an ice spirit pill, which could alleviate the fire poison just now. The black-robed man instantly felt much better. Oh, no. Junior Sister Mu, you're too kind. At this moment, Elder Hong spoke again, and then he said solemnly, we must eliminate all evil. The Slekton sect has gone too far. They actually chased me to the border of the 5 Paths immortal domain and injured my disciples. If I don't kill him, I won't be able to calm my anger. Slekton sect? Ha! Mu Jinghong sneered. What about the cultivators and Dharma treasures from the 5 Paths immortal domain? If I remember correctly, The Firewheel lineage is in charge of the Five-Wheel North region, right? That's right. That's right. Elder Hong smiled again, then cupped his hands towards Mu Jing Hong. The safety of the North region is indeed the responsibility of the Firewheel lineage. It was indeed our negligence that allowed the thieves to sneak into the Five Paths immortal domain. However, Wuluan and Baigu have been fighting openly and covertly for tens of thousands of years. I'm sure Junior Marshall's sister Mu knows about it. It was inevitable that a few thieves would occasionally sneak in. Thanks to Junior Marshall's sister Mu's help just now, we didn't suffer any heavy losses. I hope Junior Marshall's sister Mu won't blame us. Of course I understand. Mu Jinghong looked at Elder Hong and smiled faintly. I didn't lose much, but I'm afraid that someone lost too much. Foundation establishment cultivators aren't existences that can be grabbed by the handful. After saying that, Mu Jinghong glanced at everyone present. His gaze instantly turned deep and cold. It was obvious that he was hinting at something, but he didn't say it out loud. Ha ha ha. Killing some cultivators from a Selectan sect was just a trivial matter. One day, we'll head north and flatten the Selectan sect. At this moment, another core formation cultivator laughed and tried to smooth things over. Yeah, it's good that you're fine, haha. The others also echoed. It seemed that the deaths of over a dozen cultivators and the fact that Sumo was being hunted were not a big deal. Mu Jinghong sneered as if he was watching a clumsy performance. At this time, Sumo could barely sit up straight on the 5 flying sails. As she watched and listened to everything that was happening before her, she couldn't help but feel a slight chill run down her spine. She was even a little terrified when she thought about it, because the atmosphere here was a little strange. There seemed to be a hidden meaning in all his words. Sumo recalled the story of the inner circle that Zhao Yunxing had told her. Within the 5 wheels, the relationship between each faction was rather subtle. Could it be that the one who wanted to kill me was a 5 wheels cultivator and not a cultivator from the Selectan sect? Then Elder Huoluan was the one who wanted to kill me? Sumo's heart shuddered. Why? He didn't understand. Sumo could only silently listen and observe. Everything was illogical. At this moment, other than Elder Hong, there were 4 other cultivators. 3 men and 1 woman. Other than the Firewheel faction, there was actually 1 person from each faction. The one from the Tianlun faction was an elder in the intermediate stage of the core formation realm. He wore a long green robe and smiled without saying a word. Because Mu Jinghong was from the Tianlun faction, there was no need for him to say anything. The Tianlun faction wouldn't be at a disadvantage in the end. The one from the Earthwheel faction was also an elder in the intermediate stage of the core formation realm. He wore a brownish-yellow robe and had a gentle expression on his face. He kept looking at Sumo. Just now, he was the one who mediated the situation and laughed. The one from the Waterwheel faction was a beautiful woman. Although she was old, she still looked attractive. She wore a light blue dress that made her even more seductive. Actually, the one with the highest status among them was this woman with the Waterwheel faction, because she was the first seat of the Waterwheel faction. However, her cultivation level was still at the early stage of the core formation realm. Thus, it was obvious that the Waterwheel faction was weak. The first seat of the Waterwheel faction was emotionless and was basically just watching from the side. However, he was sneering inside. The last male cultivator looked like a perverted uncle. He wore a gray robe and looked a little sloppy. He didn't care about his appearance, and his beard was unkempt. He didn't look like a proper cultivator and didn't look like an immortal at all. However, there were 3 storage pouches hanging around his waist, which was rather special. However, his cultivation level was the same as Mu Jinghong's, and he hadn't completed the core formation realm. He was at the peak of the foundation building realm, or rather, half a step into the core formation realm. Without a doubt, this perverted uncle had the lowest cultivation level out of everyone here. Nobody knew how he got into a team of this level. He was from the Windwheel faction. The Windwheel faction was the weakest of the 5 wheels. Zhao Yunxing once commented on the Windwheel faction. The Windwheel faction was the most miserable. They had the least number of people and had no disciples to choose from for many years. Now, those disciples were either crazy or in dire straits. Therefore, the Windwheel faction could be said to exist in name only. That was definitely a pertinent comment. At this moment, the perverted uncle seemed to be a little absent-minded. He seemed to be standing there just to keep up appearances. That was because he knew what everyone was here for. However, all of this had nothing to do with the Windwheel faction. In the Five Wheels, the Windwheel faction was actually dispensable. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that they only existed in name only. Perhaps the meaning of the Windwheel faction was that they were not used to changing their name to the Four Wheels faction. Therefore, even though there were people from the Windwheel faction here, they were automatically ignored by everyone. That wretched-looking uncle looked left and right, agreeing with whatever everyone said. The incident of Sumo being chased seemed to have passed just like that. Even Sumo felt that it was a bit childish. I, Sumo, am an authentic disciple of the Five Wheels. Even if I'm an outer disciple and have no status, a few Foundation Establishment Realm cultivators died just now. But quite a few Foundation Establishment cultivators died just now. Don't tell me we're just going to leave it like that. Aren't we going to investigate? Aren't we going to hold them accountable? This is because I'm not dead. If I'm dead, who can I reason with? Wouldn't I have died in vain? Sumo kept asking questions in her heart. She didn't understand the situation in front of her at all. However, no one present seemed to care about Sumo's thoughts. They all knew the rules. It was a terrifying and inexplicable tacit understanding. Even Mu Jinghong didn't seem to be entangled in the matter of Sumo being chased. If things were abnormal, there must be a reason behind it. Sumo frowned. Of course, she couldn't ask or say too much. It was really scary to think about it carefully. However, Sumo would definitely think about it carefully when she went back. At this moment, the cultivators of the Five Wheels actually didn't move. They didn't seem to have any intention of returning to the sect. Sumo cursed in his heart. These guys, what are they doing here? They're having a meeting. I still have injuries on my body. I want to go back to the Yongjin Peak. At this moment, Sumo looked at the nervous group of Five Wheels cultivators and suddenly felt that the cave abode at the Yongjin Peak was so warm and beautiful. The strange thing was that Mu Jinghong actually didn't move either. At this moment, the mid-stage core formation realm cultivator from the Tianlin lineage finally spoke. He looked at Mu Jinghong and Sumo and said casually, "Junior Sister Mu, bring Sumo back to the Tianlin mountain." Mu Jinghong nodded. "I'll listen to Elder Du's arrangements." Return to the Tianlin mountain? It was an understatement, but everyone knew what it meant. She had cultivated for less than a year and was already at level 6 of the Qi refinement realm. Sumo was the first person since the founding of the Five Wheels. Her future was limitless. If she was brought back to the Tianlin mountain, wouldn't she become a disciple of the Tianlin mountain? Chapter 63. Sumo might mean a nascent soul, or even a soul transformation. This would have a huge impact on the entire Five Wheels, let alone one faction. Everyone understood what that meant. This was also the most important reason why these almighties left the cave when they sensed that Sumo had returned to the Five Paths immortal domain. No one was willing to let such a disciple fall into the hands of others. They represented the attitudes of the various bloodlines. Sumo didn't need to wait for the child cultivation competition or the inner disciple selection. With his aptitude and cultivation speed, it was entirely possible for him to enter the inner sect. Among the 5 chakras, the heaven chakra meridian suppressed the other meridians. One of the most important reasons was that their first seat was close to the nascent soul realm, and the other was that their disciples of the younger generation were outstanding. Mu Jinghong was the most outstanding representative. Elder Tianluan's words seemed to be an understatement, but in fact, it was an undeniable responsibility. That was because the most outstanding disciples of the Five Wheels had all entered the Sky Wheel Mountain. The Heavenly Wheel lineage was getting stronger day by day, and the other lineages could hardly catch up to it. Hearing Elder Tianluan's words, Mu Jinghong naturally nodded. However, at this moment, the Earth Wheel Elder spoke. Sumo has yet to recover from her injuries. Our Earth Chakra lineage's Purple Spring is a healing holy water. In my opinion, We should first let Sumo soak in the purple spring on Earthwheel Mountain for 3 days. That would be the best plan. Otherwise, it won't be good if his cultivation is delayed. What? The Tianlun elder looked at the Earthluan elder and sneered. Elder's son, are you saying that our Tianlun lineage's sky dew isn't as good as your purple spring? That Earthwheel expert, elder's son, smiled and didn't say anything. When it comes to healing, I feel that our Firewheel Mountain's Jade Fire Divine Elixir is the best. Brother Su, the Fire Chakra lineage sincerely invites you to the mountain for treatment. Stay here for a few days. Hua Luanhong's words were the most direct. He spoke directly to Sumo. Huh? Sumo was a little confused. This was an open robbery. Although this was definitely a good thing for him, he still felt a chill. Why do I feel like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered? In terms of healing, who can compare to my ice cicada pill of the Waterwheel lineage? You should know that an ice cicada pill can raise a foundation establishment minor realm. At this moment, the head of the water chakra lineage also spoke. Sumo thought to herself, didn't they say that the water chakra lineage mainly consists of female cultivators? Why was she joining in the fun? However, if there were more female cultivators, it would also be good. However, the chief monk of water will look at everyone in the field with a smile. In fact, she just wanted to muddy the waters and raise the price too high. Speaking of which, the ice cicada pill was truly a healing panacea that the other branches could not compare to. The perverted uncle from the Windwheel faction subconsciously opened his mouth when he saw the commotion. However, he didn't say anything in the end, because the Windwheel lineage really had nothing. At this moment, Elder Du of Tianlun could not help but frown secretly. Usually, the Earth Chakra lineage could compete with the Heaven Chakra lineage, but today, the Fire Chakra and Water Chakra actually had the intention to compete with each other. Only the Wind Chakra was considered normal. Elder Du of Tianlun sneered and said slowly, join my Tianlun mountain and you will be rewarded with 1,000 talismans, 1,000 middle-grade spirit stones, 3 foundation establishment pills, and 1 core formation level magic treasure. This was considered a lot of rewards. Join my Earth Chakra Mountain, and you will be rewarded with 1,500 talismans, 1,500 middle-grade spirit stones, 3 foundation establishment pills, and 2 core formation level magic treasures. Elder son of Earth Chakra smiled faintly. The chief monk of Earth Chakra had ordered him to get Sumo at all costs, so he was very confident. For the Fire Chakra lineage, you will be rewarded with 1,500 talismans, 1,500 middle-grade spirit stones, 3 foundation establishment pills, and 2 core formation level magic treasures. In addition, you will be rewarded with a foundation-breaking pill. Elder Huluan Hong didn't want to be outdone and increased the price again. Broken eggs? At this moment, Sumo was a little confused and blurted out. She thought to herself, what's the use of broken eggs? I don't even want to eat low-grade spiritual food. Not only me, even Hung Hung doesn't want to eat it. Broken eggs? We don't want good eggs. The Fire Chakra lineage is too weak. However, Sumo's question almost made the cool and elegant Mu Jinghong laugh out loud. Cough, cough. The black-robed senior tried hard to hold back his laughter. Junior Su, it's not a broken egg. It's a foundation-breaking pill. The foundation-breaking pill is used by late-stage foundation establishment cultivators. 1 foundation-breaking pill can increase the probability of forming the core by 30%. Oh, Sumo was embarrassed. He really didn't know what a foundation-breaking pill was. Hee. At this moment, the chief monk of Water Chakra looked at Sumo and smiled charmingly. Our Fire Chakra lineage doesn't have a foundation-breaking pill. However, we have the same conditions as the Fire Chakra lineage. Brother Su, our Fire Chakra lineage has many female cultivators, so we don't have to worry about choosing 2 cultivation companions. Do you understand? Sumo blushed, but when she thought of Lao Xuantu's words, her heart couldn't help but sway. To be honest, he was a little tempted. Fairy. If I sleep with that fairy. Lao Xuantu's words rang in her ears. However, just when Sumo's heart was moved. Mu Jinghong. who hadn't spoken, coughed heavily. Immediately, Mu Jinghong's voice rang in Sumo's ears. It was a cold and secret voice transmission. Don't even think about the fire chakra lineage. Otherwise, I'll kill you. Huh? Sumo's heart trembled. That sentence scared Sumo so much that he became smug on the 5 flying sails. Just now, when Mu Jinghong killed people, he clearly saw it. In an instant, the fairy and whatnot directly dissipated. Being tempted was also very painful. Lao Shuantu is really a troublemaker. Sumo muttered in her heart. But this senior sister Mu is too strict. It's a pity that I don't have a chance with the water chakra lineage. The fire chakra lineage will reward 2,000 spirit talismans, 2,000 mid-grade spirit stones, 3 foundation-breaking pills, 1 nascent soul-level magic treasure, and 2 foundation-breaking pills. Elder Du's face was slightly cold. In terms of strength and foundation, the other lineages were all trash. They really didn't know when to stop. The Earth Chakra lineage will reward 3,000 spirit talismans, 3 mid-grade spirit stones, 3 foundation-breaking pills, 1 nascent soul-level magic treasure, and 2 foundation-breaking pills. Elder son of the Earth Chakra lineage was still calm. Elder Huoluan frowned, then gritted his teeth and added another 1,000 mid-grade spirit stones. The chief monk of the Water Chakra lineage smiled and didn't say anything. To put it simply, in the end, the reward increased to 5,000 spirit talismans, 5,000 mid-grade spirit stones, 3 foundation-breaking pills, 2 nascent soul-level magic treasures, and 3 foundation-breaking pills. The value of these things was enough to ensure that a mediocre cultivator could become a core formation cultivator. The 3 lineages seemed to have put in a lot of effort. At this moment, the fire chakra lineage was still gritting their teeth, but Elder Hong's forehead was already covered in cold sweat. Elder Tianlun didn't get the instruction to do whatever it took, so he was also a bit hesitant. Mu Jinghong kept his eyes down and didn't say anything. In fact, Sumo hoped that Mu Jinghong would say something. Wouldn't it be fine if he just listened to Mu Jinghong? I won't let you go to the water chakra lineage, but you can say something about the others. However, apart from the threat just now, Mu Jinghong didn't say anything else. Elder Tianlun slightly hesitated. However, at this moment, a voice came from the void. It was the voice of the chief monk of the Sky Chakra lineage. At this moment, on the Sky Chakra mountain, the middle-aged cultivator in a long robe was sitting cross-legged. He was the chief monk of the Sky Chakra lineage. Double. Sumo instantly felt a headache. I'll double too. The voice of the chief monk of the Earth Chakra lineage also came. In fact, they were all paying attention to the situation at the border of the 5 Paths Immortal Domain. Although the chief monk of the Fire Chakra lineage also came, his voice was full of disappointment. He couldn't afford to play. I'll double. The domineering voice of the chief monk of the Sky Chakra lineage came. He was at the peak of the late core formation realm, half a step into the nascent soul realm. At this moment, everyone felt their ears buzzing. However, at this moment, several black lines appeared on Sumo's face. Chapter 64. Fight the Landlord. You don't say, the 5 chakra meridians really do have a bit of that taste. The heaven and earth chakras did not give way to each other. The water and fire chakras could not keep up with the rhythm. The windmill chakras did not even enter the game. The perverted man was dumbfounded when he heard about the rewards from the heaven and earth chakras. When did the windmill chakras see so many talismans and mid-grade spirit stones? There were only a few nascent soul-level Dharma treasures in the entire windmill chakras. How could he give it to Sumo? Foundation-breaking pill? If he had the foundation-breaking pill, would he still be at the peak foundation establishment stage? He would have eaten it long ago. Why would he give it to Sumo? I have 2 stupid eggs in my storage bag. I can't compare. Sigh. The perverted man sighed in his heart. The windmill chakras did not even dare to think about the crazy rewards from the heaven and earth chakras. However, the perverted man gradually looked at Sumo with a strange gaze. At this moment, Mu Jinghong glanced at the wretched uncle and indifferently said, "Senior brother Liu, Sumo's intentions are not to be taken lightly. Didn't you see how those people died just now?" "Huh? Hee hee." The perverted man looked at Mu Jinghong and smiled awkwardly. "Junior sister Mu, you're thinking too much. Why would I have ideas about him? We don't dare either. Oomph. Is there anything in the 5 wheels that the windmill chakras do not dare to do? Others may not know, but I am very clear about it. If Sumo is missing even one thing, I will attack the windmill mountain." Mu Jinghong sneered. "No, no." The perverted man smiled awkwardly and did not speak. Smart people were like this. It was always right to speak less. "What can you do to me if I don't speak?" Mu Jinghong did not speak anymore. However, Sumo did not understand what they were talking about. "Junior brother Su, the windmill chakras have a master thief. You have to be careful when you enter the inner sect. The 5 wheels chakras often lose things." The black-colored senior apprentice brother reminded from the side. "This senior apprentice brother Liu in front of us is also an extraordinary person, a master craftsman. As a foundation-building cultivator, he was able to craft a core formation-level treasure. Don't underestimate him. However, he is a stingy person. Who knows, he might have designs on your belongings." "Hee hee." "Oh, thank you, senior brother." Sumo nodded. Only now did he remember that he hadn't had the time to thank that senior brother in black. "Junior brother is impolite. I haven't thanked senior brother for saving my life. Junior martial brother Su, you're welcome. I'm just following orders. There's no need to thank me. I just hope that junior apprentice brother Su can be gentler when he hits me next time." "Ha!" The black-clothed senior brother laughed in a low voice. "Huh?" Sumo was stunned. At this moment, the two of them whispered to each other. While no one was paying attention, the black-robed senior apprentice brother's face was slightly dispelled, allowing Sumo to see his true appearance. It used to be a face that deserved a beating, but now it was a sincere smile that warmed Sumo's heart. "Shunlang." Sumo was instantly stunned. "Senior apprentice brother?" Shunlang's face flashed by. "Junior Su, how close are we going to be in the future?" Huh. The closer the better." Sumo agreed, but he was a little lost. There was an indescribable feeling in his heart. There were too many secrets in the 5 wheels. The person who saved her was actually Shunlang, who she punched away that day. That day, Shunlang had bullied Bai Lai to the point of suffocation. Now, it seemed like he did it on purpose. The heaven and earth wheels were still competing. Right now, it seemed like they were no longer fighting over Sumo. Instead, they were trying to prove who was the first meridian of the 5 wheels. Whether they fought for Sumo or not, it was a form of recognition and a symbol. Actually, there was no doubt that the Heaven Wheel Meridian was the first among the 5 wheels. However, today the Earth Wheel Meridian seemed to be holding back and wanted to compete with it. At the same time, on the ancestral spirit peak of the 5 wheels, the blind patriarch sat cross-legged in his cave abode and sighed helplessly. These unfilial disciples are a disgrace to the name of the 5 wheels' ancestral master. Each generation is worse than the previous. No wonder the 3 great experts were so disheartened that they left the sect. That's not a heavenly immortal route. The blind patriarch lamented to himself, but he did not want to interfere. At that moment, a white light suddenly appeared in front of him. Within the white light, there was the shadow of a middle-aged cultivator in white robes. However, his face could not be seen clearly. The blind cultivator's eyes were blind, but his heart was not. At his level of cultivation, his eyes could be said to be dispensable. The white light in front of him was a soul-dispelling body. The blind patriarch hesitated for a moment, as if he could not believe his consciousness. However, he instantly knew that he could not be wrong. Master, the blind patriarch was so excited that he could not speak coherently, as if he did not even dare to dream that something like this would happen. Didn't Master die? Let that Sumo join the wind wheel lineage. The middle-aged cultivator in white robes said in a faint voice. Wind wheel lineage. The blind patriarch was slightly hesitant. Although he had yet to calm down, He knew that there was no way he should let Sumo join the Wind Wheel lineage. Master, that Sumo is in the Wind Wheel lineage, I know. The cultivator in white robes did not let the blind patriarch finish. Let him join the Wind Wheel lineage, but he can stay in the cave abode temporarily. As for the rest, it will depend on the luck of the Five Wheel sect. The middle-aged cultivator in the white light gradually disappeared. Master! Master! The blind old cultivator almost knelt down and crawled toward the white light. However, the white light disappeared as soon as it appeared. Blind, don't worry. I'll be with you. Those were the last words of the middle-aged cultivator. Blind, I bid farewell to Master. Blind, I bid farewell to Master. The blind patriarch kowtowed to the ground with tears streaming down his face. No one knew the pain in the blind patriarch's heart and the respect he had for his master. At this moment, if someone were to see this patriarch, they would probably go crazy. Was this really the Five Wheels' old ancestor? At the border of the Five Wheels' immortal domain, there was still a stalemate. Hearing that the Heaven Wheel and Earth Wheel experts were not giving way, Sumo really wanted to stand up and shout, "Let me join the inner sect. Did you guys ask for my opinion? Why are you making such a fuss? You're too insincere. Look at the water wheel." Unfortunately, he couldn't stand up at all. Moreover, when he had that thought, Mu Jinghong glanced at him. He seemed to know what Sumo was thinking. "Shut up." Sumo lowered his head silently. He was very obedient, but he felt a little wronged. "I didn't say anything." The fight between the Heaven Wheel and Earth Wheel experts seemed to have reached its climax. This was because the voices in the air were getting more intense. The two representative elders at the border of the Five Wheels' immortal domain were also looking at each other angrily. The sound transmissions in the air seemed to be able to create sparks. Many disciples of the Five Wheels knew the current situation. At this moment, an indifferent voice came from the ancestral spirit peak of the Five Wheels. First seats of the Five Wheels, you're fighting for people in the air and doubling the rewards. You're like an ordinary peddler shouting and raising the price. Are you still a member of the Celestial sect? Do you still have the celestial intent of the Five Wheels in your hearts? Do you still care about the ancestral spirit peak? The voice was indifferent, but the continuous questions were like thunder in everyone's ears, shaking their souls. The pressure of a nascent soul realm expert spread out with a hint of anger. The entire void of the Five Wheels seemed to be covered in thousands of black clouds, and it was extremely oppressive. That was the absolute control of power. The entire Five Wheels could kill whoever it wanted. "Patriarch, please calm down. Patriarch, please calm down." In an instant, the first seats of the Heaven Wheel, Earth Wheel, and Fire Wheel branches appeared in the void and bowed in the direction of the ancestral spirit peak. All the cultivators at the border of the Five Wheels, including Mu Jinghong, knelt on the ground with solemn expressions. Who dared to not bow to a nascent soul patriarch? Of course it was Sumo. Chapter 65. 5 chakras and 7 meridians, but the Yongjin Peak and Ancestral Spirit Peak were often neglected. That was because Yongjin Peak's level was too low. It was just a general training base. The Ancestral Spirit Peak, on the other hand, was so high up in the clouds that it almost didn't care about the affairs of the 5 realms. To many fifth-round disciples, the Ancestral Spirit Peak was a legend. Many disciples only knew about the 5 Wheels, but not the Ancestral Soul. They had never heard a single word from the Ancestral Spirit Peak in their entire lives. The Ancestral Spirit Peak had not received any decrees or oral orders for over 100 years. Sometimes the Ancestral Spirit Peak was so low-key that people forgot about its existence. On this day, a voice suddenly came from the Ancestral Spirit Peak. At this moment, the 5 Wheels were kneeling in the direction of the Ancestral Spirit Peak. It was a kind of suppression and submission that came from the soul. There were only nascent soul cultivators on the Ancestral Soul Peak. That was something all the heads of the branches knew. However, it was unclear how many nascent soul stage cultivators there were in the 5 Wheels, and whether or not any of them were in the peak stage of the nascent soul stage. Nascent soul cultivators were beings that could affect the entire northern region of the Bone Continent. That was the foundation of Five Wheels. As for the soul transformation almighty, that was the secret of the Five Wheels. At this time, the faces of the chiefs of all branches were gloomy. Sumo's matter actually alarmed a Five Wheels nascent soul rel patriarch. Although they were all core formation cultivators, some of them were even at the peak of the late core formation stage and half a step into the nascent soul stage. However, any early stage nascent soul cultivator on the ancestral spirit peak could turn them into ashes with a wave of his hand. The higher the level of a cultivator, the stronger the suppression of the realm. Otherwise, if someone who had cultivated for 1,000 years couldn't even beat you to death, what was the point of cultivating so hard? Among the five branches, the head of the Heaven Wheel Temple, who was also the middle-aged cultivator, bowed his head and kowtowed, but his expression was erratic. In fact, he knew that the Heaven's Will bloodline had been in the limelight these past few years, but he was still one step away from reaching nascent soul. Was the ancestral spirit peak using this matter to teach him a lesson? But why haven't I received any news from the ancestral spirit peak? There were also nascent soul cultivators on the ancestral spirit peak who supported him. The head of the Earth Chakra lineage was an old man. At this moment, he was also calculating in his heart. It seemed that Sumo was going to fall into the hands of someone else, but she definitely couldn't help Tianluan Mountain. The first seed of the Firewheel lineage regretted getting involved in this mess. The chief of the Water Wheel lineage, on the other hand, looked calm and even smiled warmly. She was just a woman. What else could she do? It was undeniable that women had an advantage even in the immortal world. At this moment, the Windwheel faction was the most relaxed. Firstly, the Windwheel faction did not have a chief at all. It had been vacant for many years, because no one did it. Secondly, they didn't participate in the competition at all. They were just here to make up the numbers. Although Feng Luan's senior brother Lu was also kneeling, he was thinking in his heart, today's assignment is not good. He should have promised eldest senior brother to feed the pigs at the Windwheel Mountain. In that case, wouldn't the person kneeling now be eldest senior brother? At this moment, eldest senior brother must be on the Windwheel Mountain, hugging a pig and sleeping soundly. Poor me, listening to the old ancestors' lecture. Windmill senior brother Lu felt that it was unfair. That was because he could have been an onlooker. Therefore, senior brother Lu was absent-minded. Sumo, whatever you want, it has nothing to do with me, Windmill. My Windwheel lineage doesn't even have the chance to pick up the scraps. Patriarch Soul's pressure lingered for a long time. The Heaven Wheel and Earth Wheel chiefs kept kneeling and didn't dare to speak. Even their foreheads were covered in cold sweat. If a nascent soul was enraged, he would be reduced to ashes in an instant. That wasn't something to be trifled with. Hundreds of years of cultivators were directly turned into ashes. Windmill senior brother Lu, on the other hand, did not feel any pressure at all. He was just a little anxious. Yuanying stage ancestor, if you have something to say it quickly. If you have something to say. Although he cursed in his heart, senior brother Lu was still very bold, but he did not dare to mutter in his heart. The meridians of the five chakras are born from the same root, and their energies are connected to each other. You, as the heads of the sect, bestow rewards indiscriminately and maliciously suppress him. How can this revitalize my five-will holy sect? A voice finally sounded from the ancestral spirit peak. North of the five-wheel realms, there are white bones eyeing us covetously. There were also many first-class immortal sects on the continent. After 10,000 years, the five wheels did not prosper. All the bloodlines are responsible. In the immortal grove, there are no rotten trees. If my five wheels does not prosper, it will definitely perish. In fact, no matter which bloodline it is, if another nascent soul or soul transformation disciple is born, it will be the fortune of my five wheels. When one bloodline prospers, the five wheels prosper. When five bloodlines prosper, the five wheels will be in harmony. Everyone, we should work together and re-establish the prosperity of the five wheels. Every word spoken on the ancestral spirit peak was reasonable. The heads of the various bloodlines and the great core formation cultivators nodded repeatedly. Although they all had their own plans, at this moment, they were all sincerely convinced. The ancestral spirit's lecture was indeed inciting. As for the other disciples of the five wheels, they were in a trance and felt their blood boil. That's right. In the immortal grove, all the bloodlines are responsible. In the immortal grove, there are no rotten trees. When one bloodline prospers, the five wheels prosper. When five bloodlines prosper, the five wheels will be in harmony. Every sentence was a golden sentence. Above the five bloodlines, many foundation establishment cultivators took out small notebooks to record. Sumo, who was sitting on the five wheels flying sail, felt disgusted. He had a feeling that once this kind of oral instruction appeared, it meant that the five wheels was in a mess. Huh. Sumo sneered inwardly. If it's not a mess, who would say these things? If not for senior brother Shun and senior sister Mu, I would have died long ago. Get to the point. Sumo's experience told him that all this was nonsense. At this moment, Guan Xiong, who was in the square behind the mountain of Yangjian Peak, had the same thought as Sumo. It was also the first time Guan Xiong had heard the oral instruction from the ancestral spirit peak, but he sneered inwardly. He knew a lot of inside information about the five wheels. So much nonsense. Guan Xiong felt sick. Tell me what to do with Sumo. Guan Xiong cursed inwardly, but he did not show it on the surface. Hundreds of disciples knelt on the mountain behind the mountain of Yangjian Peak. Among them, Guan Xiong knelt the best. His face was almost pious, and he knelt with his butt in the air. That was because he was too fat. He had already taken out a small notebook and kept recording. Actually, all cultivators had jade slips, so there was no need for a small notebook. But it was more formal. His small eyes were shining with admiration. His face was full of hope and strength. It seemed to be saying, "Five wheels, I'm here, I'm going to sacrifice myself for you." The cultivators at the side secretly looked down on him, but Guan Xiong had a blissful expression and did not care. The ancestral spirit's immortal instruction is so rare. I'll definitely study hard. Guan Xiong looked at the other cultivators and said excitedly, "When I go back, I'll write a summary and insight. I'll definitely cultivate hard and strive to enter the inner sect as soon as possible." Finally, on the ancestral spirit peak, the topic changed. Sumo has a heaven immortal root. It's not seen in 10,000 years, and she cultivates even harder. Now all the factions are fighting, and everyone wants to give in to each other. Only the Windwheel faction can't bear to fight for her. At this moment, everyone was stunned. The ancestral spirit's immortal instruction help the weak and help the strong. Therefore, Sumo is ordered to enter the Windwheel faction. However, she will temporarily stay in her original cave abode. In the future, she will listen to the arrangements of the Windwheel faction. The sex reward will be based on the final amount of the Heaven Wheel and Earth Wheel faction's reward. Each of you will pay half. Anyone who disobeys will be killed. Hua! At this moment, the entire five wheels seemed like it was going to explode. Chapter 66. Senior brother Lu, who had been absent-minded and cursing in his heart, almost couldn't believe his ears. Order Sumo to enter the Windwheel lineage. Order Sumo to enter the Windwheel lineage. Senior brother Lu looked around with a dumbfounded expression. Then he saw the murderous gazes from the other four lineages. Finally, he knew that a big pie had fallen into his lap. This pie could probably stuff the Windwheel lineage to death. However, he couldn't care so much anymore. It was better to stuff to death than to starve to death. Ha ha ha! Senior brother Lu was so excited that he almost jumped up. However, when he thought that he couldn't show it too obviously, he quickly suppressed his happiness with his peak late foundation establishment realm cultivation. Thank you for your arrangement, Patriarch. The Windwheel lineage will definitely do its best to contribute to the five wheels. Senior brother Lu said solemnly and awe-inspiring. Fortunately, he controlled himself and didn't faint from excitement. However, There are those who fainted from excitement and those who fainted from anger. At this moment, the two heaven wheel and earth wheel chiefs, as well as the two elders just now, were so angry that they were trembling. It was really a case of the sandpiper and clam fighting while the fishermen had the geographical advantage. In the end, didn't they end up helping someone else? The Windwheel lineage was just going through the motions to join in the fun, but in the end, they actually picked up a big treasure. The two Heaven Wheel and Earth Wheel elders really want to go over and beat up Senior Brother Lou. That wretched look of Senior Brother Lou was already asking for a beating, and now it was even more so. What Windwheel lineage? Must we do our best? Your Windwheel sect is so poor that everyone eats, drinks, and gambles. All that's left is an empty mountain. What do you mean by contributing to the five wheels? What do you mean by contributing to the Windwheel sect? You don't even have a chief, so what's there to contribute? Is gathering the name of the Windwheel lineage also considered contribution? Those from the Windwheel faction were either thieving or idling around. They were either crazy or reared pigs and drank alcohol. Isn't giving sumo to the Windwheel lineage like throwing pearls into the dark? No matter how good a seedling is, it's all in vain in the Windwheel sect. Did the immortal edict on the ancestral soul peak make a mistake? In fact, everyone thought so, including the other nascent soul experts on the ancestral soul peak and even Ancestor Blind. The Windwheel lineage was a huge pit. However, no one dared to disobey the ancestral spirit peak's orders. The blind patriarch wouldn't dare to disobey his master's orders. Yes, ancestral master, the Heaven Wheel and Earth Wheel chiefs didn't dare to disobey. They hurriedly kowtowed and obeyed the order, enduring their anger in their hearts. The others did not dare to say anything. Then, the suffocating pressure of the nascent soul level gradually dissipated. Only then did everyone let out a long sigh of relief. Otherwise, the feeling of suffocation was truly unbearable. At this time, Sumo was a little dumbfounded on the 5 flying sails. The Windwheel faction was very famous. Back then, Zhao Yunqing had told him that it was the weakest branch of the 5 wheels. Sumo had witnessed the performance of the Windwheel faction just now. Existing in name only, Windmill Su Yike, whom he had met before, had treated him quite well and had even given him a life-saving jade slip, which allowed him to kill a cultivator in the 9th stage of chi refining. However, he couldn't join the Windwheel faction just like that. What happened to the Sky Wheel Mountain? Earthwheel was fine too. Senior Mu. This. Sumo could only look at Mu Jinghong. Windwheel, very good. Mu Jinghong transmitted his voice to her, and then looked deeply at Sumo. However, his expression was extremely calm. Sumo's heart skipped a beat when she heard this, but she didn't say anything else. However, she was a little curious as to why Mu Jinghong didn't choose her to enter the Sky Wheel Mountain. Congratulations, Junior Su, for directly entering the inner sect. Shenlang smiled. Su? Junior brother, Senior Brother Lu of the Windwheel sect walked in front of Sumo and seemed to be hesitating on how to address her. This was because, in theory, he should call Sumo Martial Niece. However, although Sumo was only at the 6th stage of chi refining, he was just around the corner. Moreover, Sumo was given a spot by the ancestral spirit peak. Therefore, Senior Brother Lu felt that calling her junior brother was more intimate. Sumo pays her respects to Senior Brother Lu. On the 5 flying sails, Su Imo cupped his fists and said with a smile, "Forgive this little brother for being injured and not being able to fully bow. We're brothers. There's no need to be so polite. From now on, you'll be our Windwheel faction's little junior brother." Senior Brother Lu looked at Sumo with an extremely fervent gaze. However, it was a little too fervent. This was because he knew that Sumo had brought a huge pile of items into the Windwheel Mountain. This was enough for the Windwheel faction to squander. Don't forget what I said. Don't have any ideas about Junior Brother Su, Senior Brother Lu. Mu Jinghong sneered at the side, then looked at Sumo and said loudly, "Sumo, do you still remember the oath you made when you got on the 5 wheels? The oath from the previous 5 wheels? What oath?" Now, everyone knew that Mu Jinghong and Sumo had a close relationship, but they still didn't know the details. Furthermore, no one knew that Sumo came from the Silent Death Valley. At this moment, everyone had yet to disperse, and they couldn't help but be stunned. Mu Jinghong's question stunned Sumo at first. Of course, he wouldn't forget, and he was definitely a person who kept his promises. She just felt that Mu Jinghong's question was a little sudden and deliberate. However, Sumo immediately understood that Mu Jinghong wanted everyone to hear it. Thus, Sumo immediately said solemnly, "Sumo will never dare to forget. Back then, senior sister Mu guided me into the sect. I swear on my Tao heart that once I enter the inner sect, I will be senior sister Mu's servant for 3 years. Once I enter the inner sect, I will be a servant for 3 years." This oath was really interesting. Senior brother Lu grinned as he listened. How did the newly accepted little junior brother of the Windwheel faction, a genius, become Mu Jinghong's servant? Good. Elder Du, who was originally extremely unwilling, laughed at this moment and secretly praised Mu Jinghong for having such a backup plan. However, the Earth Wheel and Fire Wheel elders were discouraged. This was especially so for the Earth Wheel lineage. It could be said that they had suffered a great loss. This time, only they knew about their losses. Mu Jinghong was rather satisfied with Sumo's answer. Then he said, "As a servant, you need to offer a drop of soul blood. If you violate the contract within 3 years, I can kill you with just a thought." Mu Jinghong's words were cold, and each of his words carried a chill. Thinking of Mu Jinghong's methods just now, everyone couldn't help but frown. In this way, wouldn't Sumo be Mu Jinghong's puppet for 3 years? Wouldn't Sumo's life and death be in Mu Jinghong's hands? In other words, wouldn't it be in the hands of the Tianluan lineage? Elder Du couldn't help but laugh twice. The final winner seemed to be the Tianluan lineage. Little junior brother, senior brother Lu frowned and wanted to say something. However, Mu Jinghong's cold gaze scared senior brother Lu so much that he didn't dare to speak. When Sumo heard this, she couldn't help but smile bitterly, but she still didn't hesitate. She raised her right hand and pointed between her eyebrows with her index and middle finger. Although Sumo was seriously injured, it wasn't a problem to extract a drop of soul blood. A drop of blood flew out from between her eyebrows and stood on the tip of Sumo's finger. Soul blood could determine a person's life and death. Chapter 67. That drop of blood was crystal clear, like a red star. Sumo looked at Mu Jinghong and said solemnly, "Senior Mu, you led me into the sect that day." Sumo would never dare to forget that 3-year promise. Today, Senior Mu came from thousands of miles away to save me. Otherwise, Sumo, would have turned into ashes long ago. I can't repay this kindness. In the future, if anything happens, Sumo is willing to go through fire and knives for you, regardless of life or death. Then, Sumo flicked her finger, and the drop of soul blood flew towards Mu Jinghong. Beside him, senior brother Lu was going crazy. He wanted nothing more than to kick Sumo in the face. "Junior brother, which branch do you belong to? You're in the Chao camp, but your heart is in the Han camp. Furthermore, these words are too blatant. Is this the time for you to confess? You've lost the face of the Windwheel faction. Furthermore, this is not the style of the Windwheel faction. When we get back, I'll get your senior brothers to teach you a lesson." However, senior brother Lu couldn't say these words now. Mu Jinghong did want the soul blood, but he didn't expect Sumo to give it to him so readily. She even said those words. Sumo should know what giving the soul blood meant. However, he didn't hesitate. At that moment, Mu Jinghong's immortal heart, which had been frozen for God knows how long, trembled slightly. However, Mu Jinghong didn't say anything. Instead, she silently extended her left hand. She held the drop of soul blood in her palm. Mu Jinghong wore a long black dress, and her skin was as white as snow. The drop of soul blood in her palm was very beautiful. Then, Mu Jinghong gently closed her palm and looked at Sumo. Her gaze was cold, as though she wanted to see through Sumo. "Sumo, I'll give you one chance to regret. If you regret now, it's not too late. Mu Jinghong's voice was low, and her expression was expressionless. However, the warmth in her palm almost made her lose control. That was indeed what Mu Jinghong wanted. Sumo smiled faintly. That smile actually had a hint of calmness. She shook her head. Senior Sister Mu, I won't regret it. Very good. Mu Jinghong seemed to be in a daze for a moment before he smiled gently at Sumo. If Sumo remembered correctly, that was the first time Mu Jinghong had smiled like that. At that moment, a smile that could topple the world was like a flower in a dream. Sumo was stunned by Mu Jinghong's beauty. He instantly felt that a drop of soul blood was nothing. He was willing to give up his life for the woman in front of him. However, it was not only Sumo who was shocked at that moment. Everyone on Five Wheels Mountain was also shocked. Only today did they realize that other than sneering, Mu Jinghong could also smile tenderly. Stunning white bones for 3,000 years. Mu Jinghong's label was cold and ruthless. No one had ever seen her smile like that. Unfortunately, this smile only belonged to Sumo. However, Mu Jinghong actually opened his palm again. The drop of soul blood on her fair and slender palm shone with a resplendent red light. Sumo, remember this. Soul blood cannot be given to others easily. Even me, never leave your life in the hands of others. With that, Mu Jinghong flipped his palm and gently pushed forward. The drop of soul blood was directly pushed back between Sumo's eyebrows by Mu Jinghong. In that instant, Sumo could not help but feel shocked. There was an indescribable feeling in her heart. Sumo, I believe you. I don't need the soul blood to prove it. With that, Mu Jinghong smiled sweetly and turned around. That black dress flew away like the wind, drifting away like the clouds. At that moment, everyone was stunned. Why did Mu Jinghong give up on that drop of soul blood? That was the best opportunity to control Sumo. Senior Brother Lu, take good care of my servant. If Sumo loses even a strand of hair, I, Mu Jinghong, will trample Windwheel Mountain. Mu Jinghong turned into a cloud and left, but his voice reverberated throughout Five Wheels Mountain. It lasted for a long time. Senior Brother Lu was dumbfounded and his heart palpitated. Had Windwheel Mountain accepted a little junior brother? They had invited a little ancestor, and there was a killer behind that little ancestor. Senior Brother Lu pondered whether it was worth it or not. Everyone who heard Mu Jinghong's voice seemed to understand. Those words were not only meant for the Windwheel faction. It seemed like it was appropriate to change the name of Windwheel Mountain to Five Wheels. Mu Jinghong had killed many people today. No one doubted Mu Jinghong's ability and determination. Even the ancestral soul peak sighed softly. Sumo, are you a blessing or a curse for Five Wheels? Mu Jinghong, who had already left, actually left Five Wheels. She was heading towards White Bone Ridge. That was because she wanted to cry in front of Silent Death Valley. Sumo, remember, you can't give your soul blood to anyone easily. Even me, never leave your life in the hands of others. I believe you. I don't need the soul blood to prove it. If Sumo loses even one strand of hair, I, Mu Jinghong, will trample Windwheel Mountain. Although Mu Jinghong had already left, her words still echoed in Sumo's ears. Her smile seemed to still be blooming in front of Sumo's eyes. Sumo became absent-minded for a moment. Cough, cough, cough. At this moment, Senior Brother Lu purposely coughed a few times to bring Sumo back to reality. Mu Jinghong left just like that. Elder Tian Luan frowned slightly. He didn't understand, but there was nothing he could do. He couldn't control Mu Jinghong. At this moment, the other core formation cultivators were also about to leave. Elder Du, Elder Sun, don't forget the Patriarch's order. Send someone to deliver the rewards to Windwheel Mountain. Senior Brother Lu saw that they were about to leave and hurriedly reminded them. Move. The two core formation cultivators snorted at almost the same time, but they were still polite to Sumo. Nephew Su, the Tianlun faction will definitely send someone to personally deliver the rewards to you. I hope you can cultivate well and live up to the Patriarch's expectations. All the branches are one family, so we must prosper together. Elder Du of Tianlun said earnestly. Yes. Elder Sun nodded and said, Sumo, Elder Du's words are very true. The patriarch said that when one branch prospers, the 5 wheels prosper. When the 5 branches prosper, the 5 wheels prosper. Don't forget this. We will also prepare the rewards for the earthwheel branch as soon as possible and deliver them to you. Sumo quickly cupped his hands and said, Disciple can't kowtow. Thank you for your teachings. Sumo will remember everything. He knew that everyone was optimistic about his future. Therefore, even if they couldn't let him enter their branch to cultivate, they were willing to make friends with him for the future. Take care of yourself. Don't let the rewards fall into the hands of others. Elder Du of Tian Luan's words had a hidden meaning. Remember, bear this in mind. Earthwheel Elder Sun exhorted. Then, the two of them glared at Senior Brother Lu at the same time, as if they had a common enemy. Then, the two of them laughed and left as if there was no discord between them. Elder Hua Luanhong also smiled and said goodbye to Sumo. Brother Su, the water chakra chief monk lagged behind and smiled charmingly at Su Mo. Although you did not enter my water chakra lineage, my water chakra mountain awaits your arrival at any time. If you want to choose a Tao companion, the water wheel is the first choice. I, the chief monk, am willing to give you some advice. Oh, thank you, chief monk. Sumo was sweating in her heart. How would she dare to go to the water wheel mountain when she thought of Mu Jinghong's ban? The chief monk of water wheel chuckled with a hint of ridicule. Then, he turned around and disappeared. Finally, only Shunlang, Senior Brother Lu, and Sumo were left. Shunlang cupped his fist at Sumo and said with a smile, Junior Brother Su, I'll take my leave too. Originally, I should have escorted you back to the sect residence and treated your injuries. However, you have already entered the Windwheel Mountain. The Windwheel Mountain has a divine doctor, so there's no need for me. Senior Brother Lu won't be interested in these 5 sails. I'll take it back. Junior Brother Su, we'll meet again. With that, Shunlang waved his hand, and Sumo left the 5 sails. Then, Shunlang actually threw her to Senior Brother Lu. Ha ha! Shunlang laughed. This was because he knew that there must be treasures in Senior Brother Lu's storage bag. Shunlang's black robe swayed, and he disappeared. Chapter 68. The battle robe is not bad. Do you want to make one when you have time? Sumo listened to Senior Brother Lu's words and couldn't help but grin. That Senior Brother Shunlang's black robe is definitely not an ordinary item. How can it be made so easily? However, Sumo had another thought. Just now, Senior Brother Shunlang told me not to underestimate Senior Brother Lu. He is a blacksmith master. Could it be true? However, no matter how Sumo looked at Senior Brother Lu's wretched appearance, he didn't look like an expert. Although Su Mo also knew that there were many experts who hid their strength. Senior Brother Lu seemed to have seen through Sumo's thoughts. He rolled his eyes and said with a sullen face, Junior, believe me, I can really make that kind of battle robe. However, I don't have the materials. How about this? The Heaven Wheel and Earth Wheel experts were rewarded. Give me some middle-grade spirit stones to buy the materials, and I'll make one for you first. Let's see if it fits you, okay? Senior Brother Lu felt that his idea wasn't bad. As he spoke, his wretched eyes lit up. He might have been moved by her idea. Cough, cough. However, what kind of person was Sumo? Was she a beggar? Don't even think about it. Sumo was able to get by Lai's spirit stones. How could she let Senior Brother Lu take her spirit stones away? Shunlang already said that Senior Brother Lu was stingy. Therefore, Su Mo had to be mentally prepared and didn't respond at all. Senior Brother Lu, let's see I go back. At this moment, Sumo was still suspended in midair. She couldn't move freely and felt very uncomfortable. Oh, Senior Brother Lu seemed to have realized something and scolded himself for being too hasty. It wouldn't be too late for him to guide Sumo after she received the reward. Junior, don't you have a flying artifact? Take one out, and we can fly to the 5-wheel mysterious gate first. After that, we can activate the array to teleport back. Flying artifact? Activate the array? Hearing this, Sumo couldn't help but feel a headache coming on. He couldn't help but ask, Senior Brother Lu, how did you get here? You can't have teleported here from the 5-wheel mysterious gate, right? Huh, well, I got a ride. Core formation spell. Senior Marshal Brother Lu stammered, obviously making up a story. Core formation cultivators can use great divine abilities in the 5 paths immortal domain. Is this how those elders brought me here? Unfortunately, I'm still at the peak of the late foundation establishment stage. I haven't formed my core. Otherwise, he could reach any place in the 5 paths immortal domain with just a lift of his foot. Of course, if I had a foundation-breaking pill, I might be able to form my core. In that case, little junior brother, with my current cultivation, it seems to be a bit strenuous for me to carry you. Hearing this, Sumo's face darkened. Direct wind core formation spell. Can't you just pay for the delivery? Who are you trying to fool with such a clumsy lie? I didn't get any spirit stones just now, and now you're thinking of getting your own foundation-breaking pill? A foundation establishment perfected late stage dares to say it's strenuous to carry me? There's really no one else like him. Sumo muttered in his heart, but he couldn't lose out. Senior Brother Lu, since that's the case, put me down. I'll crawl back to the 5 paths mystic gate. Sumo sneered. Then I'll ask Senior Sister Mu to give you a foundation-breaking pill and send it to the Windwheel Mountain. What do you think? Huh? Senior Brother Lu immediately stopped thinking when he heard Senior Sister Mu. Hee. Little junior brother, you must be joking. Why bother Junior Sister Mu? There's no need. There's no need. Actually, I'm just a bit lazy. It's not a problem to carry you on the wind. But isn't your current body unsuitable for it? It would be great if you had a flying magic artifact. I'm just afraid that your injuries will worsen if I carry you on the wind. If you have any flying magic artifacts, take them out for me to see. Sumo was so angry that he gritted his teeth. Apart from Su Yike, could it be that everyone in the Windwheel lineage is such a person? This Senior Brother Lu was a stingy person and was obsessed with all kinds of magic artifacts. Anyone who had something good would want to see it. At this moment, Sumo couldn't be bothered to argue with him. He just wanted to return to the sect as soon as possible. Thus, he patted his storage bag, and the damaged 5 wheels flying sail flew out. Here, this is my flying magic artifact. Other than this, I don't have any other magic artifacts. Didn't you see that the one I was on just now belonged to the black-clothed senior brother? He took it back, Sumo said impatiently. He even said that you have something good, but you didn't take it out for me to see. Hey, don't listen to that black-clothed man's nonsense. How can I have anything good? Senior Brother Lu subconsciously touched his storage bag. However, he had 3 storage bags on him. Sumo sneered and thought to himself, Senior Brother Lu, let's wait and see. In the end, Senior Brother Lu seemed to believe that Sumo really didn't have any powerful flying magic artifacts. However, he seemed to have suddenly thought of something. All right, little junior brother, who is that black-clothed senior brother of yours? Do you know him? How would I know him? Didn't Senior Sister Mu say that he's one of her people? You can ask him yourself. Sumo said. He was too lazy to tell Senior Brother Lu the truth. At the mention of Mu Jinghong, Senior Brother Lu quivered. All right. Senior Brother Lu didn't dare to be too long-winded and put on a helpless look. Why did he keep mentioning Senior Sister Mu? Then, he looked at Sumo's 5-wheeled sails. It's still all right. It can still be repaired. You can repair it? Use it. Sumo didn't believe it. However, she thought of Senior Brother Shinlang's words. Umph. Senior Brother Lu sneered and puffed out his chest. He said arrogantly, Little junior brother, don't listen to the nonsense outside. How good is our wind wheel? Actually, our wind wheel is very powerful. Today, I, your senior brother, will show you what a master blacksmith is. A small 5-wheeled sail is nothing to me. As he said that, Senior Brother Lu raised one of his hands. A ball of purple fire appeared in his palm. The purple fire jumped about and was quite magical. Then, it suddenly spread out and went straight to the damaged part of the 5-wheeled sail. Chi-chi, the purple fire burned and made sizzling sounds. Sumo saw with her own eyes that the 5-wheeled sail started to repair rapidly. After a while, the purple fire disappeared. Then, the 5-wheeled sail was as good as new. Sumo's heart skipped a beat. Senior Brother Lu indeed had the demeanor of a master. Moreover, the five-wheeled sail was really repaired. Senior Brother Lu, you're really amazing. Sumo praised sincerely. What cultivation technique is this? Hee hee. This is just a small trick. It's not worth mentioning. Little junior brother, if you want to learn it, I'll teach you when I have time. Senior Brother Lu said generously. Thank you, Senior Brother Lu. Sumo said. Little junior brother, you're welcome. Let me tell you, as long as I have the materials, I can make anything. Junior Brother Su, let's discuss about the materials needed to make the battle robe. Senior Brother Lu, let's return to the sect first. Sumo heard that and quickly interrupted Senior Brother Lu. I'm afraid that Senior Sister Mu will look for me. All right. Senior Brother Lu lowered his head. Then, he placed Sumo on the five-wheeled sail and came up himself. The five-wheeled sail turned into a stream of light and went straight to the five-wheeled mystic gate. Sumo felt that the five-wheeled sail seemed to be faster than before. She could not help but be even more amazed by Senior Brother Lu's methods. Sumo suddenly remembered that Mu Jinghong had once mentioned something about Senior Brother Lu. All right, by Lai's Golden Dragon Fishnet, what was it called? It seemed to be something about Senior Brother Lu. It seemed that this Senior Brother Lu was really a hidden master of refining. However, Sumo still felt that something was wrong, but she could not tell what it was. The five-wheeled sail was stable. Along the way, Senior Brother Lu kept changing his methods, beating around the bush to discuss whether Sumo could give him a share of the reward. Chapter 69. Silence the entire journey. Of course, this was referring to the fact that Sumo was silent throughout the journey. Senior Martial Brother Lu did not stay idle throughout the journey. He tried to beat around the bush, infiltrate, and guide Su Mo, but Su Mo remained unmoved. However, Sumo felt that this Senior Martial Brother Lu was quite interesting. During this period, although Sumo did not speak, she heard a lot of stories about the Windwheel Palm. Although she did not know whether it was true or not, Sumo gradually became curious about this Windwheel sect that she had already joined. Although the Windwheel sect was the weakest among the five sails, it was definitely the most interesting. The five sails flew very fast. It only took them an hour to travel 3,000 kilometers. It seemed that after Senior Martial Brother Lu's repair, the five sails were much more powerful. When they arrived at the five-wheel profound gate, Sumo had a mark before, so she could directly teleport. However, Senior Martial Brother Lu did not have a mark to return, so he needed spirit stones to activate it. However, Senior Martial Brother Lu looked at Sumo with wide eyes. His meaning could not be more obvious. He did not have spirit stones on him. Senior Martial Brother Lu, you are only at the peak of the Foundation establishment late stage. Sumo mocked. If you are not with me, how are you going to return? Crawl back. Sigh. Senior Martial Brother Lu sighed and shook his head. A hero is stumped by money. However, if it was not to send you off, I could have asked those elders to bring me back with the wind. Senior Martial Brother Lu, why is the wind so powerful? Sumo said impatiently. But in the end, he could not do anything to Senior Martial Brother Lu. In the end, he could only take out 20 spirit stones. Only then did the two of them activate the array. Senior Martial Brother Lu is really stingy. Sumo did not know whether to laugh or cry, but she also secretly decided that she would not suffer any losses in the future. There is still a long way to go. Senior Martial Brother Lu, let's wait and see. If you are really a master refiner, how can I forgive you if you do not refine a few magic treasures for me? However, Senior Martial Brother Lu looked like a poor and stingy person. He did not look like a master refiner at all. In short, at dusk, the two of them were teleported to the array at the back of the mountain of Yongjin Peak. At this time, there were still many cultivators coming and going from the back mountain of Yongjin Peak. Sumo's return caused quite a commotion. This was because the news that Sumo had reached the 6th level of Qi refining and directly became an inner disciple had already spread throughout the five wheels. In less than a year, he had reached the 6th LV. That was a monstrous speed. As soon as Sumo and Senior Martial Brother Lu came out of the formation, everyone started talking about it. Cough, cough. Senior Brother Lu coughed lightly and looked very serious. The pressure of Foundation establishment instantly suppressed the scene. None of the cultivators dared to speak loudly. Unfortunately, not many people on Yongjin Peak knew Senior Brother Lu. Therefore, even though his cultivation level was high, Su Yike was not worshipped by everyone. However, Senior Brother Lu didn't care. Junior Brother Su, you're finally back. I have been waiting for you for a long time. 2 months. I have been looking forward to it day and night. I must first congratulate Junior Brother Su for directly entering the inner sanctum. In the future, your path to immortality will be unobstructed, and you will definitely ascend to the great Tao. The voice was warm and friendly. Of course, the cultivator who could be so warm and appear the teleportation array was none other than the ball-like cultivator, Guanxiong. At this time, Guanxiong was rubbing his hands excitedly. His beady eyes were full of joy and enthusiasm. Thank you, Senior Marshal Brother Guan. I was just lucky. Sumo still couldn't move freely. Fortunately, there was a peak late-stage Foundation establishment cultivator next to her. At this time, perhaps because they had returned to the mountain, Senior Marshal Brother Lu changed his wretched look and secretly used a spell to support Sumo. He seemed to be doing his best. However, he was constantly observing from the corner of his eyes. He was probably afraid that Mu Jinghong's eyes and ears were on a Yongzhen peak. He also stopped talking about Sumo's reward and tried his best to look like a proper cultivator. Junior Marshal Brother Su, are you hurt? Coincidentally, I have an energy recovery pill with me. It can help you recover faster. Guanxiong patted a storage bag, and a pill appeared in his hand. Guanxiong was someone who knew how to make friends. When Sumo went to the 5-wheel mystical gate, he didn't ask for Sumo's spirit stones, so they maintained a good relationship. Now, with Sumo's status, she probably wouldn't care about the 20 spirit stones from 2 months ago, but she would definitely remember Guanxiong's kindness. Therefore, Guanxiong's initial investment was very effective. Sumo was going to become a nascent soul cultivator in the future. Thank you, Senior Marshal Brother Guan. Sumo always had a good impression of Guanxiong. Even though she knew that Guanxiong wanted to make friends with her because of her potential, she didn't dislike it. Wait. However, at this time, Senior Marshal Brother Lu suddenly spoke. This was indeed a bit sudden. Then he glanced at the pill in Guanxiong's hand with disdain. How can my Junior Marshal Brother eat such a low-level pill? Besides, our Windwheel sect doesn't lack pills. The energy recovery pill is weak and takes effect slowly. Give it to me first. Huh? Guanxiong didn't dare to refuse. This was because Senior Marshal Brother Lu directly raised his hand, and the energy recovery pill was in his hand. Senior Brother Lu, you? Sumo couldn't help but be taken aback. This Senior Marshal Brother Lu was actually stingy enough to snatch my energy recovery pill so brazenly? And the Windwheel sect didn't lack pills? Since when was the Windwheel sect so powerful? This, however, Senior Apprentice Brother Lu took Guanxiong's chi-returning pill and then took out a medicinal pill from his storage pouch. This action made Sumo a little shocked. Senior Brother Lu could actually take something out of his storage pouch? Sumo's eyes widened. This was a miracle. Cough, cough. Senior Marshal Brother Lu seemed to have seen through Sumo's thoughts and coughed awkwardly. Junior Marshal Brother, I'm not stingy, it's just that good things have to be used at critical moments. Here you go. Senior Brother Lu opened his hand, and a green pill appeared in his palm, emitting a fragrant aroma. Guanxiong's eyes lit up when he saw it. Vitality pill? Guanxiong exclaimed. He knew in his heart that the value of this vitality pill was far above that of his energy recovery pill. It seemed to be a waste to use a vitality pill on Sumo's injury. What's a raw egg? Sumo purposely misspoke and looked at Senior Marshal Brother Lu coldly. Actually, when he saw the pill, he knew that it was definitely not an ordinary pill. A raw egg? Senior Marshal Brother Lu angrily said to Sumo. Have you ever seen such a small egg? Even a bird's egg is bigger than this, right? This is a vitality pill. A Foundation establishment immortal pill. It can revive the dead and regenerate flesh and bones. If an ordinary person eats it, they can live for 36,000 years. Guanxiong and Sumo were both speechless. Some of the surrounding cultivators also shook their heads in silence. A vitality pill was indeed a good foundation establishment immortal pill. However, the phrase, revive the dead and regenerate flesh and bones. If an ordinary person eats it, they can live for 36,000 years was bullshit. Oomph. Senior Marshal Brother Lu put on a straight face. Forget it. You little aura refinement cultivators won't understand. In any case, it's 100 times better than that energy recovery pill. Little fatty, don't you think so? Yes. That's right. Guanxiong smiled apologetically. How is it worth 100 times? I think it's more than 1,000 times. The wind wheel lineage is indeed powerful. Guanxiong's flattering words were almost instinctive. Huh? Senior Marshal Brother Lu looked at Guanxiong. He was very surprised, but also very satisfied with his answer. I didn't expect you, little fatty, to be such a practical person. You'll definitely develop in the future. Senior, you flatter me. Guanxiong blinked his small eyes. Senior, you have such a good pill. That energy recovery pill, is it? An energy recovery pill was a very good pill for aura refinement cultivators. However, wasn't Guanxiong dreaming if he wanted it back? Senior Marshal Brother Lu hurriedly changed the topic. Little Junior Marshal Brother, this vitality pill is for you. I think it's getting late. I'll send you back to your Immortal's cave as soon as possible. Senior Marshal Brother Lu's point of view was to minimize losses. Chapter 70. How could he return something that was already in his hands? Sumo saw through Senior Brother Lu's thoughts at once. However, he still found it strange that Senior Brother Lu was suddenly so generous. At the same time, Sumo immediately took the vitality pill and swallowed it. Otherwise, Senior Brother Lu might regret it later. Once the vitality pill entered her mouth, it turned into a clear light, making Sumo feel extremely comfortable. In fact, the little white pig had already helped Sumo to heal her injuries. Sumo's external injuries were almost healed. This vitality pill was even more nourishing from the inside. One on the outside, one on the inside. Sumo felt extremely comfortable. Then, Sumo turned to Guanxiong and cupped his fists. Thank you, Senior Brother Guan. I'll take my leave first. Let's catch up another day. I'll always remember Senior Brother Guan's kindness. You're welcome, Junior Brother Su. If you need anything in the future, just let me know. Guanxiong smiled. Senior Brother Lu came over and patted Guanxiong's shoulder lightly. He smiled wretchedly. Little fatty, you're a real person. You'll definitely develop. I have high hopes for you. Huh? Thank you, Senior. Guanxiong was all smiles. Senior Brother Lu and Sumo then left. However, this time, Senior Brother Lu did not say anything. He brought Sumo with him and rode the wind towards the cave abode. After the two of them left, the smile on Guanxiong's face gradually disappeared. He rubbed his shoulder, which was slightly sore. He could not help but frown. Windmill Lu Tianzhan is indeed not simple. Guanxiong's eyes narrowed. Just now, he had almost given himself away. Unfortunately, the qi replenishing pill was taken by him. However, he could not see anything wrong with it. Besides, Senior Brother Lu had only sent Sumo to the cave abode for a short while. At this time, Sumo could already move around easily. He opened the cave abode and invited Senior Brother Lu in. However, when Senior Brother Lu arrived at the cave abode, he waved his hand and said, Little Junior Brother, go back to the cave abode first and heal your injuries. I won't go in. Eat that vitality pill. I guarantee that you'll recover completely in 3 days. That's the secret recipe of our Windwheel lineage, the vitality pill. 3 days later, I will come and pick you up and bring you to Windwheel Mountain. All right, I'll follow Senior Brother Lu's arrangement. Although he said that, he was joking. Actually, along the way, Sumo could feel that Senior Brother Lu really treated her as his little junior brother. Senior Brother Lu's feelings came from the bottom of his heart. This made Sumo feel very warm in her heart. After all, after entering the Windwheel faction, Sumo felt that she was no longer a rootless duckweed. Moreover, he always remembered what Su Yike had said before. My Windwheel faction lacks people and resources, and we're despised by the other 4 factions. But the only thing we don't lack is friendship. Senior brother Lu seemed stingy, but Sumo would never doubt that they were from the same sect. He could temporarily stay in the cave abode at the mountain gate, but since he had entered the Windwheel lineage, he naturally had to go to the Windwheel mountain and see what the Windwheel looked like with his own eyes. Therefore, Sumo bowed to senior brother Lu and agreed without hesitation. "All right, little junior brother, I will come and pick you up 3 days later." Senior brother Lu's wretched look actually had a hint of a mortal aura. After he finished speaking, he actually turned around and disappeared. Sumo was slightly stunned. Perhaps that was senior brother Lu's real ability? Sigh. With such ability, he still said that he couldn't ride the wind and bring me back. He's really lazy. Sumo shook his head. Unfortunately, after 3 days, Sumo no longer said that senior brother Lu was lazy, because he immediately saw what true laziness was at Windwheel Mountain. "Senior brother Lu, you're wronged." At this moment, Bai Lai happened to walk out of the cave abode. "Little Su, you're back." Not sure if Bai Lai just woke up or if he could not believe what he saw. He rubbed his eyes with both of his hands. "Yes, old Bai, I'm back. I almost didn't come back." Sumo pretended to be relaxed. However, Bai Lai came over and hugged Sumo. Although he had been sleeping in the cave abode and did not know the specific situation of Sumo, he also knew that Sumo was injured when he saw that Sumo's face was a little pale. A cultivator's task was not that easy. "It's good that you're back. Let's go back to the cave abode first." Bai Lai was actually a little excited and a little long-winded. Then he pulled Sumo into the cave abode, and Bai Lai immediately turned around and went out. "Little Su, wait for me. I'll go make something delicious for you." Sumo smiled. When he returned to the cave abode and saw Bai Lai again, he instantly felt that everything was at ease. Although Bai Lai was just an old cultivator, Sumo felt warm. That kind of feeling was very strange. At this moment, Sumo felt that his body was a lot better. The little white pig's treatment and the effect of the vitality pill had begun to fully play its role. Sumo thought of the little white pig and couldn't help but pat his arms. Humph! That little fellow had slept for a long time. At this moment, Sumo patted his arms, and the little fellow crawled out with a groan. Sumo was slightly stunned. At that time, he clearly saw that the little fellow had lost a lot of weight in order to treat his injury. However, at this time, he had already recovered. This was a typical case of gaining weight while sleeping. Humph! The little fellow jumped onto Sumo's shoulder and looked around listlessly. His eyes were full of disdain. Sumo also understood that the little fellow's vision was relatively high. The Soul Storage Altar Cave Abode was definitely not an ordinary place. How could this place compare with the Soul Storage Altar Cave Abode? However, the little white pig still gave face to Sumo. He symbolically jumped back and forth twice, indicating that he knew this place. Sumo shook her head helplessly because the little white pig's jumping was too symbolic. Even though he jumped, his feet did not leave the ground. Ignoring the little white pig, Sumo sat cross-legged in the cave abode, trying to continue to recover his body. However, in less than an hour, Bai Lai came back. As soon as he entered the cave, Bai Lai saw the little white pig lying listlessly on the stone bed. Bai Lai was shocked, and at the same time, his eyes instantly lit up. He shouted excitedly at Sumo. "Little Su, you actually got a pig? That's great. How do I eat it? It's so small, let's roast it. It's crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. Of course, if you want to eat stewed, that's fine too. I just happened to bring a few pieces of purple sky stem to eat together." Purple sky stem stewed pork is also a famous dish, but if you use it to make soup, it would be a waste. TSK. Little Su, you're too amazing. I haven't eaten pork for a long time. Ha ha. Bai Lai rambled on, very excited. He only cared about talking to Sumo, and at the same time, he took out things from his storage bag. There was a lot of spiritual food in the storage bag. Purple sky stem, a bit like a potato. Bai Lai did not even notice the change in the little white pig, but he suddenly felt that the way Sumo looked at him was a bit strange. Why was little Su looking at him with a face full of sorrow and pity? Only then did Bai Lai followed Sumo's gaze and looked back. Bai Lai was almost scared to death when he turned around. Behind him, on both sides of the little white pig's nose, there were two fangs that were more than a foot long, white and cold. At the same time, it was not just the fangs. That little fellow, using some unknown method, actually grew more than 10 times its size, about 100 pounds. It was aggressive, breathing nonstop, the whole white wild pig. Oh my God! Bai Lai suddenly jumped, ran directly behind Sumo, and hugged Sumo. Chapter 71. Demon Pig? This was the biggest insult to Hung Hung. Hung Hung, Hoochie, the little white pig's fangs emitted cold air. If Bai Lai continued to talk nonsense, the little white pig might really become a demon pig. At this moment, Hung Hung was a bit like a bull. It was an incomparably noble dracophant soul-devouring beast. Yet it was called a demon pig. One must know that a demon pig was not even worthy to be a follower of a dracophant beast. Sumo hurriedly turned around and covered Bai Lai's mouth. Bai Lai, don't talk nonsense. In a moment, if Hung Hung gets angry, I won't be able to stop it. Bai Lai was a bit confused. What's wrong with that little white pig? Why did it suddenly become bigger? If I eat it, how many meals can I eat? It's not easy to roast this big, so I can only stew it. At this time, Bai Lai's mind was still thinking about these messy things. Fortunately, his mouth was covered by Sumo. Otherwise, the little white pig would have probably rushed over. Bai Lai would have been stabbed to death. Hung Hung, calm down, calm down. Sumo looked at the little white pig with a bitter smile and was also puzzled. How did this little guy suddenly become so big? It's amazing. Hung Hung, those who don't know can't be blamed. His name is Bai Lai, and he's my good friend. It's a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. Old Bai, this is my spirit beast. Its name is Hung Hung. It is the legendary, incomparably powerful, and invincible dracophant soul-devouring beast. Sumo flattered the little white pig. Then, Sumo let go of Bai Lai's mouth and whispered, Old Bai, Hung Hung killed and Chi refining cultivator without even blinking. Don't talk nonsense. Phew, Bai Lai heaved a sigh of relief. Just now, Sumo had covered him so tightly that he almost suffocated to death. Sumo's last sentence made his face pale. Killing an aura-refining cultivator without batting an eye, then wouldn't it mean that he wouldn't even be out of breath if he killed him? Hee. The famous dragon elephant. Sumo had just finished, but Bai Lai didn't remember it. He couldn't help but look at Sumo. Dracophant soul-devouring beast. Sumo hurriedly said, Oh, that's right. The famous dragon elephant soul-devouring beast, brave and powerful. Hee. Bai Lai looked at the little white pig and said fawningly. Then, he hurriedly took out some spiritual food from his storage bag. Those were all low-grade spirit foods. At this time, the little white pig snorted. Chi, like a deflated balloon. Its body quickly shrank back and returned to its original appearance in an instant. Was it angry just now? This little guy's temper is really big. Bai Lai and Sumo both thought so. Looking again, the little white pig looked at the spiritual food Bai Lai took out with disdain, then looked at Bai Lai with disdain. Could it eat something like that? The little white pig began to look at Sumo in a daze. Sumo, of course, understood what it meant. Luckily, Bai Lai got a few kinds of mid-grade spirit food from who knows where. Sumo used a copper bowl to strengthen the spirit foods, then gave them to the little white pig to eat. This time, Sumo didn't hide it from Bai Lai. However, Bai Lai didn't seem to be interested in magic treasures, nor did he understand them. Most likely, he thought that the magic treasures of cultivators were quite powerful. Bai Lai tried to make the spirit foods as delicious as possible, and he even made a pot of wine. Just now, when he came out of the cave, he already knew that Sumo could directly enter the inner sect. He was even more excited than Sumo. Little Su was powerful, and he was about to rise. How could he not be happy? It seemed that he could retire peacefully in 5 wheels in the future without worries. Moreover, soon, Bai Lai and the little white pig became familiar with each other, who asked them to be unable to write 2 white characters in one stroke. They were all a family. Therefore, 2 people and 1 pig could be considered to have a hearty meal. The little white pig actually drank a bowl of it. It swayed, twisted its butt, and fell directly under the stone bed. Then, it immediately fell into a deep sleep. Bailai and Sumo couldn't help but laugh. The fatigue on Sumo's body was greatly relieved. Meanwhile, senior brother Lu had already flown back to Windwheel Mountain. Windwheel Mountain was located southwest of the entire Five Wheels, less than 700 kilometers away from Yongjin Peak. There were a total of 9 peaks in the Windwheel lineage. Lu Tianzhan went straight to the third peak. On the third peak, there was a skinny cultivator sleeping. However, as soon as Lu Tianzhan set foot on the third peak, the cultivator turned over and slightly raised his eyebrows. Sixth junior brother. The skinny cultivator muttered to himself, "Isn't he escorting little junior brother? Why is he here?" At this moment, Lu Tianzhan had already entered the cave abode. Third senior brother. Lu Tianzhan seemed to be a lot less wretched. "Why are you here?" Third senior brother asked. "Did you directly bring that little junior brother back to Windwheel Mountain?" 3 days later. "He's injured?" Lu Tianzhan said. "Injured?" Third senior brother sneered. "What injury? Wouldn't it be better if he brought it to me? I don't think there's any injury in the Five Wheels that I can't treat, right?" Hee hee. Lu Tianzhan laughed and said, "It's just a minor injury. I gave him a vitality pill, and that's enough. I'm here today to show you this." As he spoke, Lu Tianzhan opened his hand. It was the Qi recovery pill that Guan Xiong wanted to give to Sumo. Huh? Qi recovery pill? Third senior brother looked at Lu Tianzhan in confusion. Then he pinched the soybean-sized pill with his fingers. When his hand touched the pill, he could not help but frown. A useless pill? Third senior brother's lips curled up. But what? Lu Tianzhan hurriedly asked. However, this pill was still a good pill half an hour ago. Third senior brother smiled faintly. "Who gave it to you?" Lu Tianzhan told him what happened just now. Third senior brother nodded and said, "That little fatty is definitely not a Qi refinement cultivator. A Qi refinement cultivator can't turn this pill into a useless pill." As he spoke, third senior brother gently blew on it. Pa! The pill had split open from its center. However, it was already empty. Only a wisp of black gas was emitted. Third senior brother pointed at the void, and the wisp of black gas gathered. Then, third senior brother turned his hand, and the wisp of black gas gathered in his palm. It gradually turned into a ball and became smaller and smaller. Third senior brother narrowed his eyes, and his expression was solemn. It seemed like he was going to restore the wisp of black gas. However, when the wisp of black gas was the size of a fingernail, it stopped gathering. Third senior brother sneered and took out a porcelain bottle with one hand to store the wisp of black gas. "It can't be restored?" Lu Tianzhan asked. "Yes. Not for now. Let's see in a few days." Third senior brother nodded. "That little fatty is not simple. To be able to destroy that pill with his telekinesis in front of you and make it impossible to restore, he must have some tricks up his sleeve." "What kind of pill is that?" Lu Tianzhan asked. "I'm not sure yet." Third senior brother shook his head. "That pill set has many variations. It can be poisoned, planted, tracked, and even protected. I'll study it again when I'm not sleepy." Lu Tianzhan could not help but feel a headache when he heard that. He could not figure out the little fatty's purpose at all. "Third senior brother, when would you not be sleepy?" "It's nothing. It's nothing." Third senior brother yawned and seemed to be even more sleepy. "Don't worry, sixth junior brother. Even if little junior brother really ate it, he'll be cured by me. If there's nothing else, I still want to sleep." Lu Tianzhan was speechless. "Let's go. Let's go." Third senior brother waved his hand and lay down on the stone bed. "Since little junior brother is here, I'll go to eldest senior brother. You have to protect him." With that, third senior brother actually started snoring. Chapter 72. It was a quiet night in the sex abode. The next day, Sumo's exhaustion was gone and his injuries were healed. His recovery was much faster than senior martial brother Lu's expectation. Bailai got up early to clean the abode. In fact, Bailai didn't have any abode to clean, so he went to show off. At this time, Sumo was sitting cross-legged in the abode, using the art of everlasting. The white gas in his Dan's sea was surging like an endless tide. 6 white halos were faintly glowing. Sumo felt refreshed and looked at his wounds. They were all healed and there were no scars. It seemed that he could go to the mission pavilion of Yongjin Peak to exchange for the cultivation breaking pill. With 1 cultivation breaking pill, Sumo could go straight to the 7th level of Chi refinement. Although Sumo was already an inner disciple, he still hoped that he could reach the 7th level of Chi refinement as soon as possible. Because in the 7th level of Chi refinement, one could control the wind. That way, Sumo's freedom and fighting ability would be greatly improved. At the same time, the news that Sumo had returned to Yongjin Peak had already spread. The first person to visit Sumo was none other than Zhao Yunxing from the Tianlin lineage. Zhao Yunxing and Sumo really didn't get to know each other without fighting. Now, Zhao Yunxing was even more sincere in befriending Sumo, so the small things in the past no longer mattered to him. The two could be considered half-friends. Zhao Yunxing was from the Tianlin lineage, and his uncle was a great cultivator in the late stage of Foundation establishment. Therefore, not only did he know about Sumo, but he also had a good understanding of the inside story. Therefore, he was extremely shocked. As soon as Sumo returned to the abode, he arrived on the 2nd day. The two talked about the old days. Zhao Yunxing naturally congratulated Sumo on his rapid cultivation and directly becoming an inner disciple. At the same time, Zhao Yunxing also felt quite regretful that Sumo couldn't enter the Tianlin lineage and cultivate together with him. Sumo asked about the inner sect. There were some things that Zhao Yunxing didn't know, and there were also some things that he wanted to say but didn't. However, when it came to the Windwheel lineage, even Zhao Yunxing shook his head and smiled bitterly. He only said, "Junior brother Su, you will know once you go there." This made Sumo even more curious about the interior of the Windwheel Mountain. Before Zhao Yunxing left, he gave Sumo some things. Sumo accepted it without hesitation. Among them, there were even 2 middle-grade spirit stones. In fact, at this time, no matter how heavy Zhao Yunxing's gift was, Sumo had to accept it. Otherwise, it would make others feel that she looked down on her friend. After sending off Zhao Yunxing, Sumo welcomed an unexpected guest. Xiao Qia, Chen Dong, and Song Tanjir came together. This was definitely something that Sumo didn't expect. However, they were guests. Of course, Sumo had to treat them politely. In fact, the arrival of the 3 of them had no other meaning. It was nothing more than a show of friendliness. After all, in the future, Sumo would definitely be a hot figure in the 5 wheels. There was still a chance to make friends now. Once they got close to the inner sect, it would be too late for Sumo to make a meteoric rise. Xiao Qia was still dressed in a white dress. She was graceful and elegant. In front of Sumo, she had always been calm and at ease. She was actually already at the peak of the 3rd level of the Chi refinement realm. This kind of speed was already very fast. However, when Xiao Qia saw Sumo, there was still a trace of loneliness in her eyes. Geniuses always made others despair. Xiao Qia had always been proud. However, there was Mu Jinghong first, and then there was Sumo. They both made her feel like there was a mountain that was difficult to overcome. Chen Dong and Song Tanjir were both at the 3rd level of the Chi refining realm. Such achievements were absolutely outstanding among the same batch of children cultivators. Chen Dong's character didn't change. He still wore a smile on his face, which seemed quite sincere, but in fact, he had other thoughts in his heart. However, Sumo's development was far beyond his imagination. Therefore, he wanted to at least maintain a relatively non-hostile relationship. As for him wanting to do something bad to Sumo, the hope was getting slimmer and slimmer. In fact, he thought too much. Now Sumo didn't have time to think about him at all. If he hadn't come, Sumo probably wouldn't have done anything to him at all. The improvement of a cultivator's realm would inevitably lead to the improvement of his vision. Probably not many people would be obsessed with killing a mosquito that had once bitten them. As for Song Tanjir, it was estimated that Chen Dong had brought him here. Although he was polite and congratulated Sumo, he didn't say much. In any case, Song Tanjiro still had a trace of childishness and toughness. Sumo saw all this, but she didn't point it out. She chatted with the three of them for a while. The three of them actually brought a lot of gifts, nothing more than some spirit stones, middle-level spiritual food, and so on. The gifts are light, but the feelings are heavy, so I can't hurt their face. Sumo comforted herself. In fact, with his character, he wouldn't refuse these things at all. In the past, he had to beg for food. Now that they gave him gifts, how could he not eat them? Then, in the end, he sent the three of them away with a smile. At that time, among the 4 great children cultivators of Yangjian Peak, only Lung Muzi was Sumo, who had never seen him. It was said that Lung Muzi had been extremely low-key and almost cultivated in seclusion. On Yangjian Peak, his whereabouts were rarely seen. He was probably not a simple person. After sending them away, no one else came. After all, many people wanted to flatter Sumo now, but they had no way to do so. On the contrary, Bai Lai was now able to do as he pleased on Root Nurturing Peak. After all, it was easier to get along with Bai Lai. There was even less work to clean the cave abode. As long as the cave abode was occupied, Bai Lai didn't need to clean it. It wasn't that he was afraid of bad luck, but that he didn't dare to trouble himself. After walking around Yangjian Peak, Bai Lai's storage bag was often stuffed to the brim with all kinds of things. Sometimes Bai Lai couldn't remember who gave him what, so he had to make a small notebook to keep track of it. This made him look bad. He was just like a person on Yangjian Peak. In the cave abode, Sumo could finally cultivate in peace. First, Sumo sat cross-legged on the stone bed and cultivated the art of everlasting step by step. He closed his eyes for 6 hours. In fact, this could only be considered as a breath adjustment. However, everything on Sumo's body had recovered. In fact, he could even be said to be in high spirits. Level 6, Qi Cultivation. Sumo was more or less proud of himself. This kind of result was absolutely unimaginable to him when he first entered the sect. Therefore, he took out his broken copper bowl again. This copper bowl, Sumo hadn't evolved for a long time. This time, Sumo went all out, throwing in 10 mid-grade spirit stones. One had to know that 1 middle-grade spirit stone was equivalent to 100 low-grade spirit stones. Originally, Sumo only had 15 middle-grade spirit stones on him. He used one on the 5 wheels flying sails, and now he had 14 left. This time he used 10, although he still had 6 middle-grade spirit stones left, with 2 from Zhao Yunxing, but with Sumo's personality, he would definitely invest a lot. This was because Sumo understood that he was about to live a life where he didn't have to count spirit stones and calculate how to spend them. The reward given by the sect was in the thousands of mid-grade spirit stones. Once he came down, he would be a little rich man on 5 wheels. Little beggar, little rich man. Ha ha ha. Thinking of this, Sumo could really laugh even when he was meditating. The great sorrow and joy of life were really too exciting. Of course, a big investment would have a big return. Inside the copper bowl, white fog rose and white light flashed. In the end, all the spirit stones disappeared without a trace. Not even ashes were left. The purity of middle-grade spirit stones was far better than that of low-grade spirit stones. Looking at the copper bowl again, the 49 dark lines on it were even more profound. Moreover, the whole copper bowl was slightly bigger and even had a hint of purple copper color. This copper bowl actually became a little less like a bowl. Holding it in his hand, Sumo felt that the copper bowl was a little heavier. Chapter 73. Sumo held the copper bowl in her hand and frowned. The bowl was not as cute as it used to be. This thing won't evolve into something else, will it? Sumo's heart skipped a beat. What will evolve into? The copper bowl won't evolve into a copper basin, will it? Copper bowl into copper basin? This idea made Sumo feel ridiculous. However, a new idea popped up in her mind. If the bowl could enhance all kinds of spiritual food, could it enhance elixirs? If the bowl could enhance the effects of elixirs, that would be amazing. Enhance elixirs? Refine elixirs? At this thought, Sumo suddenly became excited. If that was the case, wouldn't I be amazing? Thus, Sumo immediately rummaged through his storage pouch. However, There were no elixirs in his storage pouch. He and Hung Hung ate the qi refining pills from before. Zhao Yunxing, Xiao Chuya, and the others also did not have elixirs in their gifts. After all, elixirs were far more valuable than spiritual stones. Therefore, even the lowest level of elixirs were extremely important to cultivators of different levels. Ordinary people could not afford to give elixirs. However, she suddenly took out a fire spiral pill. Huh? Sumo thought for a moment. He originally had 4 fire spiral pills left. Today, Zhao Yunxing gave him another 4, so he still had enough. However, the fire spiral pill was of little value to Sumo. It was not much of a threat to cultivators above the 6th level of Qi training. And cultivators below the 6th level of Qi training were not much of a threat to Sumo. I'll try the fire spiral pill, Sumo said without hesitation. Even if it was ruined, it would not be a pity. In theory, the fire spiral pill was indeed a type of elixir. As long as it could enhance one's cultivation, other elixirs would not be a problem. Thus, Sumo threw a fire spiral pill into the copper bowl. Drip, drip, the fire spiral pill spun in the bowl. Was it going to turn into 2 again? Sumo recalled the middle-grade spiritual food. If 1 became 2, then the fire revolution pill would be meaningless. At this time, the little white pig wiggled its little but out of Sumo's arms. Hump's eyes brightened. It probably thinks that Sumo is making fruit juice again. Even if it wasn't fruit juice, he could still make 2 medicinal pills to eat. The little fellow had somewhat forgotten what medicinal pills tasted like. The pills from last time were really delicious. Humph shook her little but her short tail curled up 3 times and her little tongue stuck out. Her saliva was almost dripping out. He looked like he was waiting to eat. Humph, you can't eat this. Sumo laughed. Humph. The little white pig looked at Sumo suspiciously. However, it also felt that something was amiss. Why didn't this pill have any fragrance? Let's see if Sumo will eat it later. The little white pig simply sat on the ground like a puppy and stared at Sumo. However, instead of extending its tongue, it spat out a little bit. You really can't eat it. Go to sleep. Sumo laughed. The little white pig's appearance was really interesting. However, the more Sumo said so, the more the little white pig didn't believe it. The little fellow's eyes didn't move. It just looked at the fire spiral pill as if it could smell the fragrance of the pill. However, after the fire spiral pill spun a few times in the bowl, it actually emitted a faint stench. Oomph. The little white pig frowned. It squatted beside the bowl and bore the brunt of the stench. It smelled the stench a little earlier than Sumo and couldn't help but cry. The little white pig directly lifted its butt and moved back a little, slightly behind Sumo. This way, the next time Sumo would be able to smell the stench first. Sumo was amused in her heart. However, after the fire spiral pill emitted that stench, there was no more. The little white pig couldn't help but look at Sumo with disdain. The fire spiral pill spun again. However, the speed was extremely fast. Chi, sparks actually emitted from the bottom of the copper bowl. Sumo and the little hum couldn't take their eyes off it. After a while, the fire spiral pill finally stopped spinning. Of course, it didn't split into 2. From the outside, the fire spiral pill didn't seem to have changed much. It was just a little smaller. However, if one didn't look closely, it was almost impossible to tell. Sumo picked up the pill with her fingers and pretended to eat it. Oomph. When the little white pig saw that, it immediately jumped up. It was obvious that it wanted to eat it. Ha! Sumo laughed. Little hum, you really dare to eat anything? Did you forget that last time this thing exploded your skin and flesh? The little white pig jumped up. Before it could grab the fire spiral pill, Sumo's hand shook and the fire spiral pill was already thrown outside the cave. Pa! Boom! Rumble! The entire immortal cave trembled. The little white pig directly jumped onto Sumo's shoulder. It suddenly remembered the time when it was blown up. That was indeed a pill that couldn't be eaten. In fact, Sumo just wanted to see if there were any changes to the fire spiral pill. However, this casual throw was far beyond his expectations. Sumo walked to the entrance of the cave. About 10 feet away, a 3 to 4 feet tall boulder was blown into pieces. There was even a 3 feet deep pit in the place. Huh. The power of this fire revolution pill had actually increased by more than double. Even a cultivator at the 9th level of the chi refinement realm wouldn't be able to withstand this kind of power. Fortunately, there was an array formation around the cave. Otherwise, if the sound spread out, it would probably alarm a lot of people. The little white pig looked at the big pit and thought, if I swallowed it just now, wouldn't I become a flying dragon elephant broken beast? Seems like it's important to keep my mouth shut. Sumo was overjoyed. This meant that the copper bowl could also improve the quality of the pills. An ordinary fire spiral pill could actually improve to this extent. Then wouldn't all the pills in the future be more effective? Sumo was very excited. This copper bowl was simply too magical. It kept evolving and improving. Spiritual food and pills could all be improved. Could treasures do the same? Sumo's greed was insatiable, and he casually took out an immortal sword. However, the immortal sword was too long. It couldn't fit into the copper bowl. Could the sword head fit? Actually, Sumo was too anxious and forgot to chant the incantation to shrink the immortal sword. Thus, Sumo took out a flying dragon nail. It was a small Dharma artifact that was also given by Zhao Yunxing. Sumo threw it into the copper bowl, but there was no reaction at all. Sumo pursed her lips. It didn't seem to work. However, she didn't know if it was because she couldn't refine it now or because the copper bowl couldn't be refined into a magic weapon. She would try again in the future. Sumo had already decided that once she received the reward from the sect, she would evolve the copper bowl again. The copper bowl's potential was too great. Thus, Sumo returned to the cave and refined the 7 fire spiral pills in the storage bag again. This way, he would have an extra layer of protection for cultivators below the Foundation establishment realm. The little white pig looked on listlessly. In fact, it wasn't interested in the fire spiral pills at all. However, it was worried that Sumo would refine other things later. It still remembered that there were more than 10,000 safflower in Sumo's storage bag. In fact, those were the cultivation-breaking pills that Sumo prepared. If you want to watch, then watch. Anyway, that guy is cute and fun. Sumo laughed at her heart. In the end, after refining a few fire spiral pills, Sumo put away the copper bowl. The little white pig was very disappointed and slowly crawled back into Sumo's arms. The more Sumo thought about the little white pig, the more amusing she felt. Suddenly, Sumo remembered that she still had a summoning technique. It would be fun if she could get another little guy. Chapter 74. Pure Land? The beginning of the Milky Way. In the vast universe, there are thousands of worlds. On the bones, there are sacred lotuses. How many dust nets are there? Outside the Pure Land, there is the reincarnation of the Milky Way, which has experienced thousands of years of calamities. However, this mystical power can achieve it. It can connect to one's life and borrow the light of eternal life. To be honest, Sumo did not really understand the beginning. There were only 2 or 3 terms that he had come across. He had come across Dust Net, Pure Land, and Milky Way, but he did not really understand them. He also had a Dust Net Sutra, but it was a wordless heavenly book. As for the rest, he did not understand anything about connecting to one's life and borrowing the light of eternal life. However, he felt that the spiritual summoning technique was indeed a very powerful Dharma art. In any case, he could definitely learn the Dharma arts of the sect. So, Sumo began to study the Pure Land Galaxy technique. In fact, the seal of the Dharma art was not complicated. However, after 2 hours, Sumo was already familiar with it. However, the Pure Land Galaxy technique had a high requirement for the cultivator. The summoned item was closely related to the cultivation level of the cultivator. The higher the cultivation level, the more powerful the summoned item would be. After becoming familiar with the Dharma art, Sumo sat cross-legged and mobilized the everlasting chi in his body. He tried to use the Pure Land Galaxy technique. The first step of the Dharma art was to communicate with one's divine will. Sumo concentrated and calmed his mind, meditating on the vast universe and the thousands of worlds. In fact, it was a boundless illusion. Gradually, Sumo entered a meditative state and felt as if he was in a boundless void. Everything was empty. He could not see anyone from the past or the future. Sumo felt as if he was a speck of dust in the vast universe. He was extremely small, and a trace of sorrow appeared in his heart. The worlds were endless, and the universe was boundless. Where would a duckweed return ashore? Sumo looked around blankly. There seemed to be thousands of nebulae and clusters of stars around him. However, everything was changing. Sumo could not see anything clearly. His eyes and thoughts could not keep up with all the changes. That kind of change was beyond Sumo's knowledge. At that moment, Sumo felt dizzy, and the unwithering chi in her body couldn't keep up. That didn't seem to be a realm that he could touch. However, Sumo gritted her teeth and tried her best to control her emotions. The glowing white immortal root in his Dan sea shook slightly. Circulating the unwithering incantation, his Dan sea filled up again. In an instant, Sumo felt her mind clear up. The undying chi was indeed too domineering. If it was an ordinary cultivator, they would not be able to pass this test at all with their chi refinement realm. Sumo was thinking too far into the future. His spiritual force was far above his cultivation level. At that moment, Sumo seemed to be rapidly flying through the vast universe, her speed fast enough to catch up to the stars of time. Countless light spots flew past Sumo. Perhaps a speck of light was a world. Sumo was dazzled and her mind was shaken. At that moment, she suddenly felt the sky suddenly darken. In a trance, Sumo seemed to see a huge and long shadow slowly passing through the sky, like a whale passing through the sea and the clouds hanging in the sky. That scene is so familiar. Blue light, purple light, and in the void, there seemed to be an ancient ship mottled with time. In the distance, a light instantly covered half the sky like the gate of heaven had opened. Endless mysterious light, like the sun flying over. Dong, 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 dong. It sounded like knocking on a door, but also like a ship's drum. Ma, miwu, and I baho. An ancient song resounded between heaven and earth. The voice sounded like Sanskrit, like Tao, but not Sanskrit. All of this was a reenactment of the scenes Sumo saw outside the rundown temple in Peach Blossom Town. Inner demon? However, this time, Sumo seemed to have heard clearly that someone was really singing an ancient song. But he still did not understand. Don't ask about this life. Don't ask about the next life. Don't ask about karma. Don't ask about fate. When everything begins, where will it end? If you don't know the beginning, why ask about the end? In a trance, Sumo saw an endless galaxy in the distance. At the same time, a voice echoed. At the same time, Sumo suddenly opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. Sumo woke up from his meditation. He saw a drop of blue water form a whirlpool in front of him and disappear instantly. The Pure Land Galaxy art. Sumo's first attempt had failed, but it could also be considered a success. Forcefully communicating with Su-Mo through his divine will seem to have caused inner demons and illusions to appear. However, he summoned a green water droplet. Sumo knew that it was the first step of the art. Only after the droplets formed a river would he be able to summon his natal spiritual item, which would then travel through the galaxy. Phew! Sumo let out a long breath and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. It seemed that he could not easily try the Pure Land Galaxy art for now. However, that was a Dharma art that could be cultivated by cultivators at the 5th level of the Chi refinement realm. Why was he injured when he tried to communicate with his natal spiritual item? Sumo could not figure it out. Could it be that his natal spiritual item was special? He could ask when he went to the Windwheel Mountain in a few days. Sumo had a habit of letting go of things that he could not figure out. Therefore, he did not dwell on it. He had just recovered from his old injury, and now he had a new one. Fortunately, Sumo did not think about anything else and focused on cultivating the unfailing art. The night passed uneventfully. The next day, Sumo spat out a mouthful of blood. With the unfailing art, he could recover in a few breaths, let alone in one night. It was the second day after Sumo returned. Sumo decided to go to the mission pavilion of Yongjin Peak to exchange for the cultivation-breaking pill, because he had already completed his mission. In the morning, Sumo went straight to Yongjin Peak. The sun was shining brightly that day. Sumo was in a good mood. In less than a year, his life had undergone earth-shattering changes. Although Sumo was living in the mountain sex cave, he was already a true disciple of the inner sanctum. Although the Windwheel sect was the weakest, no one doubted Sumo's future. Along the way, Sumo's footsteps were light. The mountain sex cave was not far from Yongjin Peak. With Sumo's current speed, he arrived at the foot of Yongjin Peak in less than an hour. There were already many children and chi refinement cultivators in the vicinity of Yongjin Peak. Senior Apprentice Brother Su. Morning. Senior Apprentice Brother Su. Senior Apprentice Brother Su. Long time no see. Sumo was now a celebrity on 5 wheels. There were not many people on Yongjin Peak who did not know him. With his reputation, coupled with Sumo's special attire, it was impossible not to know him. What's more, the 6th level of chi refinement was the highest level on Yongjin Peak. Therefore, on his way up the mountain, there were many cultivators greeting Sumo. Sumo sighed in his heart. Strength was the foundation of everything. He treated everyone with respect and was not arrogant at all. This made Sumo have a good impression of many people. Thinking about it, didn't Zhao Yunxing, who was only at the 6th level of chi refinement, walk unhindered on Yongjin Peak? The 3 words, little beggar, were getting further and further away. It might even be gone forever on 5 wheels. Now Sumo was dressed in rags, giving people a feeling that he was free and easy. Chapter 75. What a coincidence! Sumo arrived at the task pavilion. Today was the day to distribute spirit stones. The long queue was even longer than the time when Sumo punched Shinlang. Senior Brother Su. Hello, Senior Brother Su. Almost everyone in the team looked at Sumo and bowed to her. At the 7th level of chi refining, one could enter the inner sect. Therefore, the people lining up in front of the mission pavilion were basically all cultivators below the 6th chi refinement realm. At this moment, even cultivators in the 6th level of chi refining were willing to call Sumo Senior Brother. Because Sumo was an inner disciple, Sumo nodded politely with a smile, but she sighed inwardly. Last time, when Sumo came to the mission pavilion to queue up, she was ridiculed by many cultivators. No one was willing to be associated with her. This time, when Sumo arrived, almost all the cultivators automatically gave way, hoping that Sumo would be the first to arrive. This was the change in status. Of course, Sumo wouldn't take advantage of this, because it was really boring. Thus, Sumo calmly stood at the back of the line. Unexpectedly, the 2 cultivators in front were Li Deidi and Lu Yichong. Their realms were still at the 2nd level of chi refinement. There was almost no progress. Senior Brother Su, long time no see. Congratulations, Senior Martial Brother Su, for directly entering the inner sect. Li Deidi and Lu Yichong both bowed deeply, their expressions extremely awkward. The corner of Sumo's mouth curled up, and she deliberately muttered to herself. Junior brothers, don't stand on ceremony. Sumo's tone was indifferent. Li Deidi and Lu Yichong groaned to themselves. They were not as good at talking as Chun Dong, so they were more nervous at the moment. That day, when Sumo was in the 3rd realm of chi training, they had also congratulated her, but now that Sumo was standing behind them, they felt even more pressured. In fact, Sumo didn't want to do anything to them at all. His talent is ordinary, and he is only at the 2nd level of the chi refining stage. To Sumo, this kind of cultivator is not even a passerby in her life. He was just a passerby. Therefore, Sumo did not speak to them anymore. Sometimes, talking to some people was a waste of time. Sumo thought so, but Li Deidi and Lu Yichong didn't think so. One could imagine the pressure of someone who had a grudge against you and was now several times stronger than you, standing silently behind you. The more Sumo remained silent, the more afraid they became. Both of them felt a chill down their spines. In less than a moment, Li Deidi and Lu Yichong actually looked at each other, then bowed to Sumo and left dejectedly. This time, they decided not to collect the spirit stones for the time being. Sumo smiled faintly. Her heart was calm. He was not complacent, but he also had no sympathy for the two cultivators. In fact, there were many indifferent people and indifferent things in the world, just like Li Deidi and Louis Chong to Sumo. There was no need to say or see more. Sumo continued to line up. Because most of the cultivators came to collect spirit stones, their speed was very fast. Before long, it was Sumo's turn. Senior brother Su. The two LV5 Chi refining disciples of the Mission Pavilion had to call Sumo senior brother now. In fact, they were also extremely shocked. How on earth did Sumo cultivate? In just a few months, he actually went from the LV3 Chi refining to the LV6 Chi refining, and then directly entered the inner sect. Even with spirit stones, it was impossible to achieve this speed. Because if spirit stones alone could create experts, then it would be too easy to deal with. A real cultivator did not only rely on external objects. In order to fight for him, the chief monk of Zhu Luan actually doubled the reward. This kind of thing had never happened since the founding of the Five Wheels sect. Alas, the two LV5 Chi refining disciples were really depressed, because they had been stuck in the LV5 Chi refining realm for more than a year, but they still could not break through. They had also used a lot of spirit stones, but they still could not break through. Fortunately, I didn't disappoint you. Sumo smiled at the two LV5 Chi refining realm, then took out the black jade slip and the 10,000 safflower flowers. If someone else had completed this task, the two LV5 Chi refining realm cultivators would have been extremely surprised. However, now that Sumo had completed it, they almost had no reaction. Because since it was Sumo, then it was only natural. The two LV5 Chi refining realm cultivators took the jade slip naturally, and then used the array to verify the 1,000 safflower flowers. Everything was fine. They directly took out a black elixir from the treasury of the Mission Pavilion, which was the cultivation-breaking elixir that Sumo wanted. A cultivation-breaking elixir could directly promote LV6 Chi refining realm cultivator to the LV7 Chi refining realm. This was the dream of many LV6 Chi refining realm cultivators. There was only one in the entire Mission Pavilion. Senior brother Su, take it. Thank you. Sumo put away the cultivation-breaking elixir, cupped her fists to the two LV5 Chi refining realm cultivators, then turned around and left. Alas, the two LV5 Chi refining realm cultivators looked at each other and shook their heads with a bitter smile. One of the LV5 Chi refining realm cultivators hung the jade slip again. Such jade slips would usually be given a new task or taken back. Everything depended on how the LV5 Chi refining realm cultivator would deal with it. However, the moment the LV5 Chi refining realm cultivator hung the jade slip crack, the jade slip suddenly exploded into pieces. Oh, the LV5 Chi refining realm cultivator was a little stunned. Then he smiled meaningfully. It seems like a cultivation-breaking elixir is enough to make a core formation ancestor's heart ache. Hee hee. The other LV5 Chi refining realm cultivator nodded with a smile. The jade slip was broken, which meant that the core formation cultivator who issued the mission would never issue such a mission again. Even though such a thing was rare, the two LV5 Chi refining realm cultivators didn't care. However, the Pavilion of Mission's host, Windmill Su Yike, smirked. At this moment, he was in a cave not far away from the LV5 Chi refining realm, but he could see everything in the Pavilion of Mission. Then, he stepped out of the cave and arrived in front of the Pavilion of Mission. Junior brother, please wait. Sumo was not far from the Pavilion of Mission. Oh, Master Su, Senior brother Su. When Sumo saw that it was Su Yike, she couldn't help but smile. Junior brother, welcome to the School of Windmill. Come, let's go to my immortal's cave to talk. Su Yike enthusiastically pulled Su Mo to the front of his immortal's cave. Sumo only felt his body involuntarily follow Su Yike into the cave dwelling. Su Yike's cave on the Yongjin Peak was spacious and full of spiritual energy. This was one of the best caves on the Yongjin Peak. It wasn't any worse than the intersect. "Junior brother, please sit," Su Yike said. "Thank you, senior brother Su." Sumo smiled and sat on the stone bench. "Junior brother, with your talent, don't you feel wrong to be able to join the School of Windmill?" Su Yike asked with a smile. "Senior brother Su, what are you talking about?" Even though Sumo felt a little unhappy, she wouldn't say it out loud. Since it was arranged by the ancestor, there must be a reason for it. Su Yike smiled and nodded. He was satisfied with Sumo's answer. "Junior brother, I've said it before. The School of Windmill lacks manpower and resources and is despised by the other 4 schools. However, the only thing we don't lack is friendship. Everything about the 5 wheels isn't as simple as it seems. I don't dare to say anything else, but I can only say that you definitely won't regret joining the School of Windmill." Su Yike said the last 2 sentences very solemnly. At the same time, he looked at Sumo with determination. Sumo weighed the weight of his words and said solemnly, "Senior brother Su, don't worry. Since Sumo has joined the School of Windmill, she won't have any other thoughts." Chapter 76. Since Sumo had joined the Windwheel faction, she had no other intentions. Sumo's answer was solemn and natural. Su Yike nodded with a smile and said with relief, "I, Su Yike, have a lot of fortune-telling. I shouldn't be wrong about you." However, Su Yike sighed again and changed the topic. "Little junior brother, did you know? After you completed the mission to find the 1,000 red flowers on the Punishing Heart Cliff, the jade slip broke." "Huh?" Sumo was stunned. She didn't understand what Su Yike wanted to say. "What do you mean by the jade slip broke?" "It means that the cultivator who issued the mission canceled that mission forever," Su Yike said. "Isn't it normal to cancel a mission after it's completed?" Sumo was confused. Hee. Su Yike sneered. "Little junior brother, you don't know. Many of the missions in the mission pavilion of Root Nurturing Peak were repeated, because the main purpose of the mission pavilion is to train the cultivators on the Yongjin Peak. Of course, the missions are also updated." "Oh." Sumo listened attentively. "However, it's rare for a jade slip to break after a mission is completed. Of course, canceling the mission is a reasonable explanation. However, there's another important function when the jade slip breaks." "What function?" Sumo asked. "It means that we'll never be able to find out who issued the mission." Su Yike sneered. "Huh? Does senior brother Su mean that there's something wrong with that mission?" Sumo raised her eyebrows. "Little junior brother, I told you before that the mission in the Black Jade Slip is a bit special. The day before yesterday and last night, the aura refining cultivators who received the Jade Slips all died." Su Yike said. "How'd they die?" Sumo was stunned. "Chi deviation." Su Yike said, "That's actually not a rare thing in the cultivation world. Cultivation is originally going against the heavens, and chi deviation can happen from time to time. However, their deaths shouldn't be a coincidence." "Didn't anyone in the sect investigate?" Sumo asked. Su Yike sneered. "A few aura refining cultivators who haven't even entered the inner court are nothing in the eyes of the 5 wheels. I'm afraid that apart from me, no one else would have noticed. That's because I've been trying to find out who issued the mission. There are no clues, right?" Sumo asked. Su Yike nodded helplessly. "Before you, that mission had been accepted 4 times. Later, I found out that the mission location was different every time. No one but you completed the task. As for the task you completed this time, perhaps it was not the original intention of the person who issued the task, so the jade slip shattered and the cultivators related to it all died." Sumo nodded. She thought about everything that had happened during her trip to the Punishing Heart Cliff and felt that what Su Yike said made sense. "Little junior brother, I've divined your trip to the Executioner's Cliff. In the end, it was an ominous omen. Presumably, it wasn't a peaceful journey, right?" Su Yike said. "It's not just restless." Sumo told the whole story of her trip to the Executioner's Cliff, but she left out everything that happened in the soul storage altar. He only said that the little white pig led the way, found 1,000 red flower in a secret place, and then cultivated for 2 months. However, Sumo didn't hide the fact that she found the yellow altar and a brownish-yellow bead in it. Then, Sumo took out the brownish-yellow bead and showed it to Suyike. Suyike's face changed slightly when he saw the brownish-yellow bead. "Senior brother Su, what is this bead?" Sumo asked. "Little junior brother, you said that the ancient altar had the word Earth Wheel on it?" Suyike asked. "Yes, it's the word Earth Wheel in the Earth Wheel sect." Sumo answered. And Suyike's face was solemn. He thought for a while and said, "If I'm not wrong, this bead should be the soul-gathering bead." Soul-gathering bead? The soul-gathering bead, as the name suggests, is used to gather souls. Suyike said, "Then what soul? Whose soul?" "You said that the yellow altar had the word Earth Wheel on it, so I guess it's the soul of the Earth Wheel gathering sect." "The soul of the Earth Wheel gathering sect?" "Yes, the soul of the Earth Wheel gathering sect." Suyike furrowed his brows. "However, this kind of soul gathering requires living souls as sacrifices in order to maintain it." Suyike looked at Sumo. Sumo understood and couldn't help but smile bitterly. "In other words, that mission was a trap. I was originally going to sacrifice a living soul. It's just a freak combination of factors that allowed me to survive." "That's right," Suyike said. "Then is this cultivation-breaking pill fake?" Sumo took out the cultivation-breaking pill. "The cultivation-breaking pill is real." Suyike smiled. "Everything in the mission pavilion has been verified. Little junior brother, just wait for your breakthrough to the 7th stage of chi cultivation." Sumo put it away with a peace of mind. "So, it's the same situation in the other 4 places?" Sumo asked. "It should be." Suyike frowned. "But how did those people come back safely? Logically speaking, they should have died there as a sacrifice of living souls." Suyike couldn't understand it, and Sumo couldn't either. At this time, Sumo took out a black jade slip from his bosom. "All right, senior brother Su, this is the jade slip I found at the Punishing Heart Cliff. It should be the item from the 5 wheels, right?" Suyike took the jade slip and looked at it. "That's right. This is the jade slip for the 5 wheels. The black jade slip is special among the 5 wheels. It seems that the Punishing Heart Cliff once had a cultivator who went to the 5 wheels. But I don't know if he was the one who set up the altar, or did he become a living soul for the sacrifice?" Suyike smiled helplessly. He couldn't figure it out in a short time. Finally, Suyike smiled. "Junior, it's better if you don't get involved in some things. Everything can't delay your cultivation, because only strength can solve everything." Sumo nodded and replied, "Sumo understands. Is your injury completely healed?" Suyike asked. "Completely healed," Sumo replied. "You are indeed not an ordinary person. Even with the vitality pill, your senior brother Lu said that you would need 3 days to recover. I didn't expect you to be completely healed on the 2nd day. Since it's like this, your senior brother Lu and I will bring you to the Windy Wheel Mountain tomorrow." Suyike gave the Earth Wheel soul-gathering pearl to Sumo. "Senior brother Su, I will leave this soul-gathering pearl with you," Sumo said. In fact, he felt that it wasn't safe to leave this pearl with him and that it would bring him a fatal disaster. "Hee." Suyike waved his hand. "Don't worry, Junior. You're absolutely safe now. I don't think anyone in the entire 5 wheels would dare to disobey the ancestral Soul Peak's ancestor." Moreover, Senior Sister Mu's words had spread throughout the entire 5 wheels. Within the 5 wheels, whoever dares to touch you won't even know how they died. If you don't want to keep that bead, don't worry. Tomorrow, when you see your 7th senior sister, give her the bead. She should be able to deduce more things. Suyike smiled. "Yes, I'll listen to senior brother Su." Sumo nodded. Compared to senior brother Lu, senior brother Su was simply too normal. Senior brother Lu would be lucky if he didn't try to snatch the bead. Chapter 77. Back in the cave, Sumo released the little white pig, then sat cross-legged on the stone bed to practice the art of not withering. After 3 circulations, Sumo held the cultivation breakthrough pill in his palm. Actually, Sumo wanted to use the copper bowl to strengthen the pill. However, he changed his mind in the end. This was because the medicinal effects of these pills that assisted in advancement were strictly controlled. If he used the bowl to strengthen himself, something bad would happen if he ate it. That was not a joke. So, Sumo decided to take it normally. "Humph, be smart. Nobody can get close to me tonight," Sumo said, "and don't disturb me." "Humph." The little guy nodded sensibly. It seemed to understand that its master was at a critical moment. After instructing him, Sumo took that broken cultivation pill. Whoosh, whoosh. The effect of the cultivation breakthrough pill was many times stronger than the training chi pill. If the training chi pill was like a waterfall, then the cultivation breakthrough pill was the ocean. Pouring from the sky, it could be described as a new Dan Sea. An incomparable spiritual power pushed the 6 halos in Sumo's Dan Sea to the extreme. The 6 halos suddenly brightened. At that moment, the entire Dan Sea was like a rising sun, illuminating the world. Boom! Whoosh! The Dan Sea rose and spread out. The 7th level of Chi training was a bottleneck for cultivators. Many cultivators could be stuck there for the rest of their lives. And Sumo was definitely one of the lucky ones. The Dan Sea spread, the immortal root shook. It was not a short process. It lasted for more than 4 hours. The effect of the cultivation breakthrough pill was endless. Sumo's chi of not withering was growing. The two forces caused ripples to form outside of Sumo's 6th layer of water halo. That was the prelude to everything. It was a slow process. The thin waves were pushed apart layer by layer. Suddenly, a thin wave froze and stopped right outside the 6th ring of water halo. But the waves that followed were endless. Finally, a clear water mark appeared outside the 6th halo. Undying chi, endlessly growing and multiplying. The water mark was instantly plated with a layer of white. The 7th water halo was finally formed. Sumo's body trembled slightly. LV7 of Chi refining. Sumo's Dan Sea had doubled in size. The moment the 7th water halo appeared, it was extremely clear, which meant that Sumo's 7th stage realm was about to stabilize. Sumo felt that her spiritual power had reached a new level. The unwithering Chi flowed even more smoothly. Sumo knew that her undying Chi had already begun to enter the 2nd minor level. The skeleton technique was the 2nd target on Sumo's unwithering energy. LV7 of Chi refining. If it was a few months ago, Sumo absolutely didn't dare to imagine that she had entered the 7th stage realm so quickly. However, now that he had become a cultivator of the 7th realm, he did not feel excited. Instead, he felt calm. That was because Sumo's vision was much higher now. Sumo slowly opened her eyes. It was almost dawn. Humph had been guarding Sumo all this while. His eyes didn't even blink. He was very alert and serious. Looking at the little guy, Sumo smiled. Humph, you can rest now. It's okay, wait for my sex reward. I will make delicious fruit juice for you to drink. Humph. The little white pig beautifully shook its little butt. In fact, it had been sleepy for a long time, but it was worried that something would happen to Sumo, so it had been dutifully doing its duty. At this moment, seeing that Sumo was done and that there would be fruit juice in the future, it hurriedly burrowed into Sumo's arms and fell asleep. Sumo smiled, then stood up and silently activated the Imperial Wind technique. In the Dan Sea, the unwithering chi was circulating. Sumo only felt the spiritual energy flowing down, and the Yongquan acupoint on the soles of her feet was blowing. That feeling was extremely wonderful. The unwithering energy was endless, and Sumo's body was already 3 feet off the ground. This feeling made Sumo quite excited. With a thought, Sumo left the cave residence. At this moment, the sky was not bright yet, and it was hazy. In the beginning, Sumo didn't dare to fly too high or too fast. He just flew around the cave residence about 4 to 5 feet off the ground and slowly flew. Gradually, Sumo flew high into the air and then slowly descended. Humans probably always yearn for the freedom of birds. Cultivators were the same. That feeling of flying was simply too wonderful. After flying for a full hour, Sumo could be considered to have mastered the imperial wind technique. Moreover, he felt that his unwithering energy was really very suitable for riding the wind. The unwithering energy was continuous, and Sumo actually didn't feel the slightest bit tired. After returning to the cave residence, Sumo slightly adjusted his breath, wondering why the sex reward hadn't come yet. The heaven chakra and earth chakra meridians wouldn't go back on their words, right? Alas, it's already the third day, and I'm a little short on money recently. Sumo patted his storage bag and pondered. It seemed that he had always been quite well off. Just after midnight, Sumo's sect Jade slip moved, and a spiritual message was transmitted. Fifth wheel disciple Sumo, your innate talent is unparalleled and rarely seen in 10,000 years. Now, as a Chi Refinement Level 6 cultivator, you directly enter the inner sect and have been ordered by the ancestor to enter the Wind Wheel lineage. The Heaven Wheel and Earth Wheel joint reward has been prepared, and someone has been sent to deliver it to the cave residents. I hope that you will continue to work hard and live up to the Fifth Wheel realm. When Sumo heard this, he was overjoyed. What he had been waiting for had come. Almost at the same time, someone called out from outside the cave residence. Junior Su, are you in the cave residence? Sumo hurried out of the cave residence and saw two cultivators standing outside the door. Both of them were wearing greenish-gray robes. However, the sleeves of the two cultivators were different. One of them had the word heaven embroidered on his cuff, while the other had the word earth embroidered on his cuff. They were two early-stage foundation establishment cultivators, and each of them was holding a storage bag in their hands. Greetings, senior brothers. Sumo didn't stand on ceremony. In fact, he should have called them martial uncles. However, Sumo's status had risen along with the Wind Wheel lineage. Those who were at the foundation establishment stage were his senior brothers. Junior Su, I'm here on the order of Elder Du of the Heaven Wheel sect to deliver the sect's reward. 10,000 talismans, 10,000 middle-grade spirit stones, 6 foundation establishment pills, for nascent soul-level magic treasures, and 6 foundation breaking pills. Junior Su, I'm here on the order of Elder Son of the Earth Wheel sect to deliver the sect's reward. 10,000 talismans, 10,000 middle-grade spirit stones, 6 foundation establishment pills, for nascent soul-level magic treasures, and 6 foundation breaking pills. The two people's words were almost exactly the same. These rewards made Sumo feel a little dizzy. In fact, on that day, the rewards had already been casually doubled. Of course, the rewards that were given weren't completely doubled, but it was definitely a situation that had never happened before. Just one reward alone made it hard for Sumo to breathe. Who could go from a little beggar to a billionaire overnight? That feeling would make you die of happiness, and you wouldn't even know how to enjoy that happiness. Thank you, senior brothers. Sumo was so happy that he trembled a little. At this time, he really wished that people like Lao Schwanta were standing next to him. Then, he arrogantly said, Come, you don't have to beg anymore. Little Su, will take care of you, that you're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.